let's start the show.
It's February 7th, 2013. Welcome to This Is Only a Test, the official podcast of Tested.com. I'm Will Smith. Joining me today, it's Sweater Day. Norman Chan, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. It is sweater day, except for Brad.
Nice job, Brad.
It's plaid day over here.
Hey,
that
Brad
technically a
Shoemaker.
sweater?
Huh? It's
Thank
a
you.
zip. It's a cardigan.
It's knit, so it's a sweater.
It's a sweater. It's made of wool. If it's made of wool, it's a sweater.
Every day is sweater day in your heart.
Bradley Shoemaker, making your first appearance of 2013
Yeah.
on the podcast. We're glad to have you here, sir.
Thank you for having me. I am
Broadcast.
here in this chair.
This is WNB.
Broadcast,
ready to talk.
Chauffeured all the way from
Yeah, thank you. Thanks
Brad
for,
Manor.
Thanks for the lift. I don't know if I'd call it a manor.
The Brad, the
Brad
Shoemaker
Douchey?
experience.
The guest house? No.
Guest house, the bungalow.
Yes.
The Brad bungalow.
Yes.
Oh, I like that.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
alliteration.
I'll take that.
Alliteration makes everything better.
I'm happy with that one.
So let's see.
There are many things to talk about. We
Yeah.
want to talk about many things with you.
Yes.
Yes.
I've been saving them up.
You are a rare resource.
Yeah.
I hope you have some list of things.
I've got a mental
Do you have a note?
checklist here.
Okay, hopefully
all in my head.
We also have a list, so
Okay.
hopefully there will be some intersection.
Okay. My stuff is all testing stuff. I've been
Oh, that's good.
So
testing
we got to
some
get
things.
through the news.
Okay.
So
Okay.
talk about the tests.
All right.
I'm just going to put Brad in
Okay.
what we're testing.
I have been testing myself
The ultimate
First-
test.
every day, pushing it to the limit.
So first off, there's some errata. How do you say that? Errata from last week. We made some mistakes.
I don't know if it's called a rata.
We need.
There's some errata.
We have nobody's wearing pants. It's errata. Office 365 pricing, Office pricing. We fucked that up really bad.
Well, Office 365 is a real
$100
product.
a year.
No, and it's a subscription-based service.
It is not for one PC.
It is for five for each household.
Right. And you also get guest access. So if you go to somebody else's PC and they don't have Office, you can
Yes.
log into it, which makes it, I still think $100 a year for Office is a lot. It is a much better deal if you have a bunch of kids or multiple PCs in a household.
Sure.
Done.
Maybe some college students going
Yes.
together.
College students are in the same household. So that,
Yeah.
but there's an education version that I think is $80 for 4 years.
Well, I guess it makes a lot of sense for college students if you are in a co-op or something and you all need to use Excel or some type
Yes.
of office software for that year, for the school year.
Yes.
And otherwise you would be using something else than paying the $100 as opposed to buying these student.
Well, if you're in
version of
if you're in the
Office for $100
school,
each,
but if you're in school, you get it for $80. You get it for 4 years, which is a pretty good deal.
that's also a good deal.
Yeah, that's the kind of deal I'm looking for.
Okay, so the part that we missed was that there is a standalone. You can still buy it traditionally.
We also
Buy
messed
forever.
up the subscription version because we said it was only one PC. So that anyway,
5 PCs,
Yeah.
as many users, guest
Or
accounts,
Macs.
or Macs.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, moving on.
How much is the buying the?
The traditional home and student
Traditional.
version is a little bit more expensive, I think, than it has been in the past. Although pricing on that has been really fluid over the last 5 years. So it's $140 for the home and student version. Home and business is $220, and Pro is. I don't think it's $2,013. I think I probably typed something wrong in there. It's
More
$400
mistakes.
$400.
More errata.
Well, we want to keep the errata section going. And the thing that comes on with the different versions is different more software added. So, for example, if I'm reading these icons right, the home and student comes with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and OneNote. The home and business comes with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, and Outlook.
Which one comes with front page?
I'm getting there. The Pro 2013 comes with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, Outlook, Project, and Access, maybe an A, I guess, is Access. And then University comes with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, Outlook, Project, and Access. So it's the same as Pro, but for $80 for the 4 years. I have to say, OneNote, if you take notes on a Windows machine, is really useful, especially if you have something with touch now.
Yes.
If you have a tablet, it is an amazing piece of software. I still think Outlook's bad. I know people use it for work and really love it. You're fucking crazy, whatever. And I can't imagine that anybody. I don't want to know the kind of people who still use Access in 2013. Okay, so that's errata number 1. Errata number 2 is that for the last 5 years, I have been going through the wrong nudie scanners. The millimeter wave ones are the ones with the tube that you go and put your hands over your head and the
Right.
thing goes womp womp. Not
the teleporter.
The teleporter.
And that's the good one.
That's the one you're supposed to go through. That's okay to go through. The blue boxes are the ones that irradiate your skull.
The one that looks like a regular metal detector.
No, it doesn't have a roof. It's
Doesn't
like
have a
2
roof.
big blue boxes on either side of the path, and then there's no lid on it. So that's the one that irradiates the top of your
Walking
head if you're
between,
over
like, two
6'3" or
monoliths,
something.
and those will be gone. Those are the rapid
Those are
scans.
going
Do
away.
they have those at SFO? I don't.
No, they have the
remember
millimeter
those.
wave at SFO.
Yeah, they have
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, Terminal 2, they use them. The way those work is they only use them if it's not too busy. So
If it's not too
as soon
busy?
as there's a line for the nudie scanner, they just start waving people through the X-ray. But they don't have the blue boxes ones at SFO.
That's what I'm
They've
talking
never
about.
had those.
Those are the ones I'm talking about that I've never seen.
I've seen those at Dulles, and they used to have them at Seattle, I think.
So we're okay. We are not necessarily pro, but we are okay teleporter scanner.
There's 2 things that are okay about the teleporter scanner. One is that millimeter wave is really non-penetrative and is deemed safe by the scientific establishment. The other thing is that they've updated the software to not show your junk anymore. So it gives you like a psychologist, where did he touch you doll outline of where the gun is. It doesn't
Does
show
everyone have a
penis
smiley
and
face
boobs.
in that caricature?
I think so. I think those are neutral expressions, Norm.
Neutral
Not
expressions.
an expert. So as far as I know, those are the 2 massive mistakes we made last week.
For now,
There's plenty of
you
opportunity.
got a whole
coming up.
podcast ahead of you.
Yeah, no fact checking. No fact checking till Brooklyn. Super Bowl was this weekend.
Yeah. The lights went out.
It was a little less super than I expected.
Really? Oh, I thought it was invigorating.
A game? Yeah, absolutely.
As somebody who doesn't really care about pro football,
Yeah,
that
I don't
much,
either.
I was fine with it.
I don't either. But I mean, it was the blackout that really made it crazy, right?
Yeah, the blackout turned the game around for the Niners.
Well, not only that, but how often do you see something catastrophic like that happen in the middle of like
somebody forgot to pay their bill.
like the most elaborate live production of the year, right?
Yeah, and Destiny's Child's back too.
Yeah,
that was incredible.
That was
pretty
amazing when they rocketed them up out of the hole. Vroom. It's like a T-shirt cannon for people.
Yep.
I want one of those. What did they ever say? Did anybody find out why the power went out?
They are smart not to pinpoint it on any individual person.
The statement they were giving during the game while they were trying to fill for time, implied that it was a problem outside the stadium.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's.
It seemed like some of the sportscasters might have been running from the bathroom as they when they cut back to the dude sitting at the sports desk.
Yeah.
It seemed like some of them were in a real hurry to get back there.
May
in time.
not have washed their hands.
Well, the power knocked out the broadcasters.
Yeah.
Yes, the
the
2
booth.
guys, and they were excited.
So-
Yeah.
Well, it was just it was dead air for a
Yeah.
few minutes, and they'd cut to commercial. Thank God for commercials.
And didn't they run a series of commercials twice?
Yes.
They
Yep.
gave
Wow.
like
Most favorite advertisers?
Bud
Coke?
Light or someone like a double advertising.
Right.
Did you see the I don't want to talk about commercials because everybody does that and it's kind of played at this point. But the SodaStream thing where they wouldn't let them trash talk the number of bottles that Coke and Pepsi create every year.
Really?
Yeah, was that they didn't accept that ad and then they accepted an ad that implied it was about Coke, but didn't actually show. It just showed a lot of plastic bottles with red labels.
That's the one that they're exploding.
They disappeared. They didn't explode. They just disappeared. So it was a good
Not
ad.
explode.
Yeah. I like the effect.
The
It's a
water
striking-
exploded out.
Striking effect.
Yeah.
Watching just
I think at this point we're something of an expert on liquids blowing out of other materials, and I think they did a nice job.
you especially now.
Now you have a child.
Well, Norm more than me, I think. He knows what it looks like from the inside, not the child. Anything else about Super Bowl? Do we want to move on?
Okay.
I'm moving down the list. We got a lot. It's a long ass list.
I don't know
today.
if this is the place you come for exciting sports talk.
No, I know.
So-
I don't want to talk about sports
Sports ball
stuff.
was fun.
Moving
Yeah.
on.
I like
What kind of
sports
dip
ball.
did you guys have at Super Bowl? Any guacamole?
There was a guacamole for sure.
I just had hummus.
Oh,
Trying
that's
to keep
healthy.
it a little light.
Oh, got some Jaffa cakes. That was good.
What are
Not necessarily
Jaffa
dip.
cakes?
That's their British delicacy. They're like a cake with a little bit of like a jelly in the middle.
Is it
chocolate?
like a hostess cake or like a cake cake?
cookie cake. Like a cookie.
Or like a biscuit? Is it like an English biscuit?
More cakey.
Gary's not here. You can talk normal.
Yeah. So
Well, he brought it, so
biscuits are crackers, right?
Wait.
Gary was talking a mess of smack during the ball game. By the way,
he
swings hard.
Swung hard intentionally.
Okay.
But he was very, very lively. Guacamole was the dip of choice.
I made rotel. I took the Velveeta
Yes.
and,
Yes.
and the tomatoes.
Oh, the
and heated
rotel
them
tomatoes.
together.
And oh, man.
Wait,
half a log is
you
the
chop up
easiest.
the tomatoes?
No, you take half a log of Velveeta.
Yep.
And then you take a can of this stuff called rotel. That's basically just diced tomatoes and maybe a little bit of chili.
Is rotel a brand?
It is a brand.
Okay.
So it's a canned tomatoes, and should you just strain that?
No. Put it in liquid and all.
Yep.
And then
Some
you
people
melt
strain it, but
that-
they're wrong.
Super easy.
And then you microwave that with,
You have-
That's it.
or you put in a pot with Velveeta.
The hardest part of the whole thing is getting the Velveeta into 1-inch cubes.
I do not like-
because Velveeta doesn't cut.
I
Yeah.
do not like Velveeta.
Nobody
Nobody does, except in this. This is the one
This is-
acceptable
yeah.
way to eat Velveeta.
Really?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just rather buy blocks of different types of cheese and
Because they don't
That
melt
doesn't
the
melt
same.
this way.
But it's so viscous.
So
It's
had
delicious.
I
Yeah.
not had a child this year, I had the sodium alginate and a huge block of real cheddar cheese, and my intention was to turn the real huge block of cheddar cheese into Velveeta. Because when you add sodium alginate, the right properties, you can make any cheese into Velveeta.
Really?
Yes,
Huh.
Gruyere.
Gruyere.
That's how they
Oh,
make
that sounds amazing.
that's how the perfect sandwich is made.
the perfect hamburger.
Where do I get that magical substance?
You can order it from the internet.
Huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
it's
then you can
available.
also make you can spherify things.
That's a whole different. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's sodium citrate. I can't remember. Anyway,
Better living through chemistry.
I have the chemicals needed to
Better
make
eating.
this happen.
Yeah.
It just took a
Yes.
little bit longer than I had to prepare.
Does this qualify as molecular gastronomy?
Yes,
It does,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes. Using so basically what you're doing is using the same chemicals that they use to gellify, the liquid that is Velveeta
Sure.
before it reaches its final. Yeah. Anyways, best not
That's
to
more
think
than I
about
ever
that too
wanted
much.
to know about Velveeta.
But what is the name of this Velveeta dip?
I don't
Rotel.
know. Yeah, there's really no
called
name
Rotel.
for it. It's just you put
It's
in
like-
put in the Rotel tomatoes and
Yeah.
Wasn't there like a commercial where
Is
you
this
put,
a
like,
Southern
block
thing?
of cheese
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
the salsa, and then that's their like Tostito style?
That's
version of
Tostitos
Similar.
tried to take that over.
Yeah.
If it's not as good.
we
'Cause-
eat it on Tostitos for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Straight up tortilla chips.
The official
What you
chip
eat
of
it
the
with.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Not Tostitos are not firm enough for a good
The scoop. You
I
get
like
the
I like
rounds.
the scoops.
Well,
yeah,
the scoop ones are very inventive.
Oh, this is
Or the
horrible.
rounds. The rounds are sturdier, more meaty chip.
Oh, our poor arteries.
It's the only time of year I don't buy like real Mexican chips.
Yeah.
I always buy the Tostitos for Super Bowl.
You are
because marketing
intentionally
works.
you are intentionally slumming it a little bit.
I think that every Super Bowl party should be a white trash party.
Yeah, totally.
That's kind of the way I
Canned Budweiser and this stuff.
Oh God, no!
and-
no
PBR.
Canned Budweiser.
Yeah.
Can Budweiser.
Yeah.
Did you turn your?
Well, you said white trash. Come on.
Did you turn
Your
the
white
labels
trash
out?
is much better than my white trash. I'm thinking natural light. Milwaukee's
Yeah, okay.
best.
Yeah, sure.
Go. If you're gonna go big.
All right.
The next week is beer week.
It's Strong Beer Month. February is Strong Beer Month in San Francisco.
What?
Yeah. Do you not know about Strong Beer Month?
Is that where they do the thing at
The Tornado, 21st Amendment, Magnolia.
Oh, right, yeah. I've always wanted to check that out.
Actually, there's an event at the street food thing on across from Costco, the San Francisco Street Food Park,
yeah.
where all the trucks are.
Where street
That's
food
on
is
Saturday.
spelled wrong.
It's STREAT. The A is the weird letter.
Because it's a treat.
Strong Beer Month is
Obviously.
great. Barley wines.
Yeah.
The Tornado does barley wines.
Okay.
Everybody does like double IPAs and bocks and stuff
Wow.
like that. It is
Strong Beer Week.
it's Strong Beer Week.
Strong Beer Week is 1 week within Strong Beer Month.
Oh, sorry. There's
Or
a
it's just Beer Week, SF Beer Week.
SF Beer Week.
which is exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Is this when they do?
SF Beer Week.
There's an event they do every year up on the water somewhere, where it's like $50 or $75 buy-in to just go in and drink as much as you
Oh,
want.
like at Fort Mason?
I think it was
Yeah,
at
that
Fort
seems
Mason.
right.
Yeah.
I remember doing that. I remember going in. I don't
Beer
remember
Fest. I
leaving.
think it's probably Beer Fest.
Maybe that's what it is.
Some
Yeah,
type of-
like tickets
yeah.
always go really fast.
The Barley Wine Festival, if you can get into the Tornado, is something to be appreciated very carefully.
That's the one on Haight.
That's the one in Lower Haight.
Yeah.
Next to Rosamunde.
Yeah, I've been
Yeah, and
Oh, we got flyers and everything.
Joey has a card.
Wow.
Oh,
Oh,
so
wonderful.
good.
Over 300 craft beer events.
Favor us with
Yeah.
the web address so people can look this up, including me.
Ooh, this is a good
This
idea.
is sfbeerweek.org.
Well,
Right.
that seems pretty
It's
straightforward.
from the San Francisco Brewers Guild, and this is a great little flyer.
I have
like it.
from SF Beer Week and from Strong Beer Month in like 2003 or 2004.
The Barley Wine Festival is at the Tornado, February 16th.
Yes.
That is a Saturday.
If you want to go early because it's really hard to get a seat. It'll be packed all day long, and the barley wine. So all barley wine is beer that's brewed like wine, basically. So it's much higher concentration, and you end up with real kind of almost sweet sometimes ales, and it's wonderful. It's really good.
Yeah.
But it's right for the winter fog. Anyway, back on the list. Sony's having a party on the 20th.
Yes, they are.
Is it a party?
No,
This is when they're announcing the new NEX cameras or some sort of Xperia Play.
A briefing,
Oh, a briefing.
I would say.
Okay.
Press
Quite a
conference?
YouTube announcement.
Who's going to be there?
Like presenting?
Yeah.
I don't think they've said.
Oh.
In fact, it was kind of a save the date they sent out. They really haven't provided hard details.
Did
yet.
you actually get a physical invite?
Jeff got well, it was an email. Jeff got an
That's
invite.
not exciting.
And he is going
Nintendo would have sent some people over.
maybe. Yeah, probably.
You know, we would know what I mean.
No, we don't want Nintendo. You don't want Nintendo to send the ladies in white dresses
send
over.
the model over to hand
Yeah.
deliver
goodness.
a card.
with the cake pops.
We assume it will be the next PlayStation. So
It's a good assumption.
So then it's not like the hey, look how awesome the Vita's doing party.
I mean that is still a topic of debate.
Hey, is that a
you know?
PS Vita?
There is definitely still the debate of is it going to be 55 minutes of Vita and PS3 games and
One
then
more thing?
like 90 seconds of here's the future of PlayStation.
You think
That's-
that's going to be the
I
structure
cannot-
of the event?
the way they've
you don't
hyped it
think
up-
they would have the entire thing be about the
I
next PlayStation?
certainly hope it is, but you know you
I
never
can't
know.
imagine-
I can't imagine they're going to fly everybody, or not fly, but make people fly to New York. And then
Are they going to do? I mean, they're not going to talk
It'll
about
be in New
titles
York.
this early,
It is
right?
in New York.
That seems like a GDC or E3
It's
thing.
really
at
hard to
best.
say.
Yeah.
Like this seems like the time when they get the name out there and maybe show what the housing looks like.
Tech
and
demos,
show
maybe.
like some
Let the
nondescript
speculation begin early.
Like I mean, I would assume whatever they would show would be from games that are unannounced.
Yeah,
Because-
or like a Gran Turismo, like the Gran Turismo
so
demo.
Brad,
or,
from a game console launching standpoint, because getting out this early before E3, before GDC, is that advantageous? Or
yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, they're getting themselves out there before Microsoft. This is like less than a month or like a month after they said, "Oh, we're going to let them make the first move."
Yeah.
and then they did it anyway.
well, but
that was Kaz, right?
I think it was.
Yeah,
It was,
video,
it was one of
yeah.
their higher ups. Yeah, yeah.
but taking the first step also gives Microsoft. Presumably,
Time to
nobody has
respond.
time to respond at this point.
In terms of
you-
hardware design,
the chips
probably
are done.
Not. Probably not.
At most, they could pull like a DualShock style,
Right, like add 6-axis or
yeah,
whatever.
It's just in the it's just getting in front of the media cycle.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, yeah. This is definitely more about generating hype and stuff, but
that's really early.
it could be good for them. We'll see.
I have
What are your
heard,
predictions?
About what
Hardware,
it is?
yeah.
Oh, geez, I don't know.
You can tell us if you can't say.
I actually we don't know. Like I
So then
have
what are
not
your
heard.
predictions
I have
then?
not heard things. In terms of like just what's in there, I mean, it'll probably be Blu-ray based again. Dude, I don't know.
You think they'll have
It's-
anything with
so much has
Kakai?
changed. Yeah, like that's kind of one of the big questions is what are they going to do with that acquisition?
Yeah.
A lot of the speculation was if the architecture is changing that much in this thing, then hardware backwards compatibility won't be possible. So
then that could be backwards compatibility
maybe
in demos,
right? Or yeah, maybe they allow you to stream PS3 games through Gaikai.
Well, I mean, they have an ecosystem for turning your physical PSP games into digital basically store keys, right? You send in the discs and they send back a token to your account or
Maybe?
something.
I can't remember how that works.
I thought there was something
I don't think
that could do
anybody
that.
really got into that. If
Can't
they
imagine.
do,
What?
I mean, there's all these questions about what are they going to do with retail disc sales, and are there going to be single use keys that bind themselves to your account, like it's Steam or whatever?
Yeah.
There's a lot of
So you get a physical disc to install the game, plus also a
right,
key to
and like
bind
you
it
have
to
to
your
punch in a
account.
thing because I mean, there's a story up on I think it's Edge this morning saying the new Xbox. The big rumor right now about the new Xbox is that used games will not be possible on that system.
Well, I mean,
And I mean, it kind of you kind of expect that this generation, but it's still
well, if you look at like people have been accepting of that of Steam. You guys talked about this on the Bombcast a
Yeah,
couple weeks
yeah.
ago. People have accepted that on Steam because the terms are so favorable to the gamer.
Right.
Right. I mean, you
and-
install it on different PCs.
Right.
And except for UB and EA's shitty DRM, it usually just works.
Right.
Occasionally you have to deactivate or call somebody or something like that. But for the most part, if I have a PC at work and at home or in the upstairs and downstairs, stuff just works
Right.
across the machines.
I think the other key point with the acceptability of Steam is how cheap that stuff gets. Like,
yeah, the sales are
like,
a huge motivator.
compare Steam's pricing standards to there are games on Microsoft's Games on Demand service that are 3-4 years old. They're still like $40.
Yeah, Too Human was $30.
It's like, come on, guys! Like
Yeah.
you can get this for $5-10 in a store, and Steam is going to have it for $5 every 3 months. They really, if they are going to make it so that you can only buy new games on these systems, they have to get more aggressive with the pricing.
But the thing I would say is because I think Microsoft understands that for sure.
I hope
Like Microsoft,
they haven't up to now though.
They have Xbox Live.
they do have Xbox Live, but they have to look. I think the reason we haven't seen aggressive pricing on the console stores at this point More the Xbox than the PS3 because the PS3 does do occasional sales, mostly for the indie stuff.
And PS3 also should be commended for all their day one sales. You know, stuff like recent games like Far Cry and Devil May Cry, stuff like that. Like day one, you can buy it from PSN.
That's a bad experience though right now.
Like their downloads are a whole separate issue.
Long.
Like their download and their install infrastructure, everything about using the PS3 is a pain in the ass.
Do you think if they launch something with Kikai, they could jump into a higher paid subscription model?
Maybe. Yeah. One of the big questions is there still going to be a free tier of PSN service, or do they go? Because Microsoft has been getting away with it for years.
Yeah.
Maybe Sony eliminates that and adopts. It seems like PlayStation Plus was kind of paving the way for that.
How much do you think people would pay for a new console these days? What's reasonable?
I don't think they can go over $399 for the one that you want. Like if they may
what
do.
What did PS2 or 3 launch at?
PS3 launched at
$400,
$599 for the good one.
Yeah, $499
for the one nobody wanted.
$600 for the good one.
But they cannot do that again. It shot Sony shot itself in the foot with that, and B, the economy just will not bear that kind of pricing.
Well, so they think $400 for the good one.
I think so.
Oh wow,
they lost the first half of this generation because of their high price at launch.
Yeah, they're still trailing.
Well, here's the thing: the rumors that I give credence to, and the people I've talked to that may or may not be in the know, seem to imply that that both designs are going to be APUs. So they're both doing off-the-shelf PCs essentially from AMD,
right?
Using maybe not the CPU side on Microsoft.
Probably not x86, right?
Off-the-shelf, same, not custom.
Well, an APU design. An AMD style APU design. AMD is doing the graphics, which allows them to integrate higher speed memory as a system memory and double as the graphics memory and stuff like that.
What does the A stand for? Or what is an APU?
An APU is a CPU and GPU in one package.
It's just like on
so as opposed to
out of the gate, because that was something that they did the second model of 360 that was like kind of a process.
Well, no, it was really the third, I think.
Well, but the first the first visual cosmetic overhaul.
Yeah, when they did the S, that was a unified CPU, GPU, one big chip rather than.
So they're doing that out
multiples.
of the gate.
Seems like they're going to do that out of the gate.
Does that imply that they're not as aggressive with the kind of the horsepower of these things if they're able to pull that off right now?
If you're talking about PCs, then yes, because the way the PC architecture works, you just can't. You couldn't do that.
Right.
Windows wouldn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
But since they're talking about custom OSs and custom hardware, they can, the gloves are off. Right. So they can do if they wanted to integrate the CPU's memory controller with the video card's memory controller. There's nothing stopping them other than the fact that it would be a hard thing to do.
It's more important that they have better memory bandwidth and more memory anyway. It's the bigger buffers for high resolution screens.
Right.
Well, and also shitloads of shader units. The current boxes have a very, very small number of shader units, and they're not multi-purpose shaders.
Right.
So
I hate to use the phrase, but it's been a literal paradigm shift since those things came out, right? In the way that the 3D graphics are handled.
Seven years is a really long time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited about February 20th. I'll be watching.
Absolutely. I don't know if it's all up in the air. Did we get a full spec list?
I'm sure live stream it.
They are live streaming.
They are live streaming.
Yeah, they are.
That's good.
So everybody on the internet can watch it as it's happening.
It's a real make or break situation for home consoles. It seems like. And not necessarily because the people aren't going to pay for games, but because the developers and the publishers seem to be much more interested in making lower risk, higher volume handheld and phone games.
Or if they are going, AAA, if you want to call it that, they're going for a safe bet. They're going for something that
Call of Duty.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're going lowest common denominator. It has to have co-op. It has to have multiplayer. It's got to be something that we know the market wants.
So if these guys,
which is boring.
If this is going to work. If this is Sony sets the tone, and then Microsoft can either come in at a cheaper price or with more capability or connect or whatever they think is going to work.
I doubt we'll hear prices on either one of them until probably like in the fall, or post E3. It seems like the expectation I think is these pre E3 around GDC events are here's what it's called, here's what it looks like, here are some basic details. E3 is a big games lineup unveil, and then into the fall you start seeing pricing and stuff like that.
As when pre-orders
and
start
GDC
and all
is
that.
for developers to really start talking about what they're working on.
Right.
Yeah, and talk about that's when they start sharing lessons learned about the new generations and when it's gonna be an interesting spring.
Yeah. It's really nice to go to an E3 and be excited about basically everything you're going to see at E3. It's been a long time since it's really felt like that.
Well, yeah, and
6.
and
5.
The last thing I would say is that when you're talking about new consoles, the especially at the beginning of the cycle, more than everybody's going to talk about hardware specs. The thing that matters this time more than anything else are ecosystem, and games always matter, but ecosystem, like the stuff that they're doing around the console, seems like it's going to be much more important than the rest of it. If Microsoft comes out with Twitch integration, so you can stream everything you play, then that's actually kind of a huge deal.
That's one of the big rumors about the Sony console, actually. But yeah, it's like the feature set on the software level and the user interface and the infrastructure is kind of more interesting than the guts of the box at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if most of the games are third-party games that are going to be on all platforms, then I'm going to go with the one that gives me the better experience downloading patches and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And people aren't throwing away their PS3s. I mean, they have to make PS3 really viable for a couple of years.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's absolutely more like you're going to align yourself with the base level experience that you're interested in more than like the console exclusives or which one is more powerful. You know, it's like if you think the Xbox has a better friends list and cross game invites and just the real basic stuff like that, that's what you're going to stick with. No?
Well, and the fun thing about it is since Microsoft and Sony are timed together, it gives a complete reset for the whole thing. I mean, I might not have an Xbox Live Gold subscription next year.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, it's really hard to say what that offering is going to look like.
It's all crazy. More game stuff. Ouya, shipping in March.
Really?
Yeah.
Ouya. Yeah. You
Ouya.
pre-ordered?
No.
Jeff did.
48,000
Did he?
people did.
No, probably not.
How many?
48,000.
Really? That's it?
That doesn't sound like that many.
Well, for a game console no one has touched or played anything on, and have
are
not
we
seen
even-
any
It was only
games on.
$99.
Are we even calling it a
That's-
console at this point? Like, has
Android set-top box?
Has anybody shown a game on it? Like,
That's the thing.
is it just going to run existing Android stuff? Like, I don't.
I think that's
will
where it
run
starts,
existing
yeah.
Android
Okay.
stuff with controller.
I don't know what that thing looks like.
Well, there's a fair number of
After it comes
Android.
out.
There's a fair number of Android games that are controller games. Like it's a surprising number.
Yeah. I've
Stuff
heard
like
a lot of
Max
people-
Payne,
yeah.
and there's a lot of old Xbox One era PC ports that you can plug an Xbox controller into your Nexus 7 and play with the two sticks in the whole thing. It's really weird because like where do you have to have a stand for the Nexus and all
Right.
that.
And it's a set-top box.
Yeah.
You'll be able to do your Netflix.
Yeah, because I mean
Yeah,
you went
watch
through
your
that.
movies.
We'll talk about that, I'm sure,
Yeah.
coming up. But
I've got a smart TV now, and I like it.
Whoa,
You're not going to like that.
Whoa.
Well,
keep hold your talking about what we're testing until the appropriate section,
Okay.
Shoemaker. Good God. Xbox is getting Redbox Instant. Is this going to be locked behind gold?
Yes.
And it's Redbox is the kiosk in the grocery store, right?
And now they also have their content partner deals to do distribution.
I always thought Netflix was the Redbox because their envelopes are red. I guess they're the red envelope.
yeah, that seems like some kind of brand confusion there.
Redbox did, I think, hurt Netflix a lot. Well, definitely killed Blockbuster.
It's really successful. Actually, Blockbuster has grocery store kiosks too now.
The Redbox is owned by Coinstar.
Really?
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's how they got into the supermarkets in the
Okay.
first place.
Okay.
Because
It's
all
all-
the Coinstar machines were there, and they just replaced them.
It's all Blockbuster machines where like at the Safeway near my
I think
house.
it is.
It's Blockbuster at my Safeway.
It is at difference between Safeway and
Okay.
the Save Marts and Lucky's.
Yeah, the thing that those things are super popular.
Have either of you ever
used
done
them.
those?
I've
Yeah.
never used
Oh
one.
yeah, I did one on a ski trip, and then we wanted to watch a movie. And
Is the
went
selection
to-
good, and do they have Blu-rays?
They do have Blu-rays. It's gonna be like everything. Your experience may vary.
How many discs do you think are inside that box? Is it worth knocking one off? I mean, I'd take a few thousand Blu-rays.
What are you gonna do with those discs though?
I think there must be
Watch movies?
Up to 1,000. I have no idea how many are actually in
Like,
there.
have you ever not been able to get the movie you wanted?
I've only done it twice, and
Okay.
both times I was able to get the movie.
Okay.
And usually I've seen lines.
Because I still have Netflix disc subscription, and I wonder if I should drop that and just use this.
I mean, you got to put your credit card in, and then you got to return it next day.
Yeah.
But it's
So
relatively.
does it come out in like a little what's the packaging? Is it
sleeve?
just
It's a plastic sleeve.
is it like a snappy one?
Yeah.
And it has a barcode. So when you put it back in, does it just go right back into the supplier? Or does some
goes-
dude have to come by and check it every once in a while? You think?
I do not know if it is that advanced. I want to believe that it does actually take the disc out and put it in the sleeve.
Oh, we should go test this.
You're really into ripping this thing off, aren't you?
No, I just the concept of Redbox is fascinating to me.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
it's a neat idea. There's
Yeah.
obviously
it's
a
all
lot of
digital
people.
screens, so it's turned the Blockbuster experience into a vending machine.
do they have a virtual Quentin Tarantino who will help guide you to a movie selection if you can't decide what you want to
I'll
watch?
be very judgmental and ask you whether you've seen.
Some obscure. Have you seen
Some of-
Vanishing Point?
Right.
If you've never seen Vanishing Point, you're not allowed to rent movies here. Yeah.
I've heard their streaming selection's not great.
Well, that's the way streaming selections always start.
Yeah,
I don't think they have.
They haven't spent $6 billion.
$6 billion.
yeah, they don't have David Fincher on board.
Yeah. The post office. This is going to affect you on Netflix, Brad. The post office is stopping Saturday mail delivery.
Do you have Netflix still? You pay for
Yeah,
the
for the
discs?
discs, yeah.
I just canceled that.
Yeah, I don't use it as much as I should, but I mean,
You know the most difficult part about canceling it is
what's that?
Finding the last disc I have to send back to
What's
them.
It's always on my desk.
What's the longest that you've ever held onto a disc?
Hot Fuzz. No, Run Fat Boy Run.
11 months.
Okay, I think I
13.
almost hit like 2 years.
Yeah.
I know a guy who has had the same disc for 3 apartments.
Wait, what? Is
Yeah.
he on like a 2-disc plan then?
I don't know.
That's not good.
So you're just paying $8
Yeah,
extra a
it's
month.
crazy.
It's
to
tax.
hold
It's
on
It's insane.
for laziness.
Frankly, though, I mean, $8 a month. Like I have a big TV, I have a Blu-ray player, so the movies look and sound really good.
Yeah.
So if we get 1 disc a month, we have already beaten the movie theater prices nearby.
Yes, but then you have to watch. You have to find movies you want to watch and ahead of time. It's the foresight.
You're right. You're
part.
right. That,
The thing-
it is a little unfortunate.
The thing for me is that I have Amazon Instant free because I have Prime, and I have Netflix because it's $8 a month, and it's it's consistently worth it. And especially with kids coming on, like having an infinite kids TV
Dora the Explorer.
is. I don't think I can handle Dora, but I mean maybe
Why can't you handle Dora?
Dora's that I don't like that.
Too precious?
I don't like the bad guy. What's his name? Sneaker.
You've been doing your research.
I don't know, but wait.
We have watched a fair amount of kids TV just to prime what we want to.
and Dora
Will TV.
is a bad message.
There's gonna be like a whole new generation of kids TV by the time you.
I know. What's the one with the guy in the DJ guy?
I think you were asking.
The
wrong
orange
people.
the orange suit. No, he's a hipster thing too.
I know you're talking about. I don't know the name of it. He has musical guests.
He has
on.
musical
Oh,
guests.
you
that
don't
are
mean
good.
Yo Gabba Gabba?
Yo
I mean Yo
Gabba
Gabba
Oh yeah,
Gabba.
yeah. I have friends who were parents, and
Yeah. We're Yo Gabba Gabba is where we're going to make our push.
that is the hipster approved children's program.
I think Mr. Rogers and Yo Gabba Gabba is where I'm putting my
Cannot
money.
be more hipster.
All right.
Yeah. And maybe Sesame. I like Sesame Street. I'm down with Sesame Street. I bought a copy of Once Upon a Monster for $15 the other day. So I think that was probably about right. Postal Service this summer is stopping mail delivery on Saturday, but they're going to continue delivering packages.
Yeah, it's.
Now, you know how the reason they did that.
Money? Because they're poor?
Yeah, they're saving.
The
saving
reason
like
they were
billions
still
of
doing
dollars. on
they're
this.
saving approximately $2 billion was their estimating.
Holy shit, that's a lot of money.
But the reason they have to keep packages on Saturday and have stores open Saturdays is they cannot stop service completely on Saturday without congressional approval.
Oh, interesting. Is that,
Congress has forced Postal
Wow.
Service to operate on Saturdays.
Well, I mean, a lot of
against its
people,
will.
a lot of people rely on the mail for like prescriptions and stuff that they really need.
Well, and eBay stuff.
And packages is one of the few places where U.S. Postal Service is actually making money.
Yeah, I mean, and if you look at it as a deal, like the priority and express packages, the fixed rate boxes are a great deal
Yeah.
for
But
sending
they
stuff
just,
domestically.
They just subcontract that out to FedEx.
I don't care. That's whatever they want to do is fine.
I didn't know that.
They also take no money from the government.
So that's
self-sufficient,
Well,
no.
or ideally,
at a loss
Yeah.
of $16 billion a year.
ideally they should be.
Yeah, I saw somebody coming in. I was in the post office the other day. I don't go to the post office much. It's not a place that I feel welcome. But there was somebody coming in buying the stamps that are good forever. And you know when they get ready to change the price on the stamps, you can buy the infinite stamps, which never beat inflation. But some people always buy the infinite stamps.
Oh, you mean stamps that don't have
They don't have a price.
dollar value on them?
They're good for one first class letter.
Okay, it just says first class. That's
Yeah.
that's what you want.
It says F, I think.
Okay.
But the thing is, inflation is always increasing faster than the price of stamps. So you're not. It's not like you can do a Kramer-esque scheme to collect all the F stamps. This is a sign something.
Wait, to sell?
Yeah, or to hold on to forever and beat the postal service. Well, you don't want to buy 3,000 F stamps.
So you're saying just buy stamps as you need
Just
them.
buy
How
stamps
often
when
do
you
you
need
use
them.
a stamp?
Never.
I probably use like 6 stamps a year.
Do you know on all the stamps, every stamp, there's one side that does not have the ridges?
I didn't know that.
On every stamp? Why on every stamp?
Because that's one of the ways they know it's a real stamp.
That seems like it would be really easy to counterfeit.
I think anyone can counterfeit a stamp,
What about rolls? Rolls have the ridges on two sides.
but there's one side that does not have a ridge when you tear it.
I'm listing this in next week's potential errata. Yeah, so the post office, no letters on Saturday anymore. I think if they could save $2 billion by cutting out letter delivery on Saturday, they should just bring all of your mail on one day.
No,
Yeah. What do you
mailboxes aren't that big.
What good do you get in mail every day?
stuff I buy from Amazon.
I get
small
bank
parcels
statements.
and-
Yeah.
No, Amazon stuff comes from DHL, FedEx,
Yeah,
and
those
UPS.
are all private shippers.
Sometimes I get small packages. Amazon partners.
Very
those
rarely.
Those goes through.
Why are you still getting bank statements?
Yeah, why do you still get bank statements?
Turn that off.
You know what?
Paperless bank
If they gave me money back for turning it off, I would. But fuck the bank.
But that's just, I mean, that's more work for you to have
And
to
that's
dispose
more
of
of your
those
public
things.
information. Do you shred all your bank documents?
No, I use it to light fires.
Okay, well there you go.
All right.
Yeah, it's free kindling.
Okay, that works.
The Boy Scouts have delayed their decision on the Gay Scouts and Scoutmasters issue until May. So there was, I don't know, we missed this during the break, but basically the organizations that rate companies based on their kind of socio. Whether they're racist or
Social friendliness.
social friendliness, right?
okay.
We're looking at companies that donate money to the Boy Scouts, and I know this came up because Intel is one of the companies that has traditionally given a lot of money to the Boy Scouts, and they basically said, the people who do these ratings said, look, if you keep donating money to the Boy Scouts, which is a organization that is not inclusive for homosexuals, we're going to drop your rating on some arbitrary corporate friendliness scale.
I see where this is all going.
So what has happened is that the dudes in Texas, the homophobic dudes in Texas who don't want gays in the Boy Scouts,
They're more concerned about.
have to decide whether they want money from the two church organizations that are pro no gays in the Boy Scouts, or the corporations who can't donate if the Boy Scouts don't allow gays.
So money or
Money from
conviction.
the Church of Latter-day Saints or the Catholic Church, or Intel and the rest of corporate
It's
America.
really sad.
It's
Like,
it is-
I knew the debate was going on. I didn't realize that that the debate was even happening because they had gotten hit in the pocketbook.
So the debate,
I should have.
not
Should
letter-
have.
Are you
Should have
not the
known.
letter writing campaign?
yeah,
Not
And
because you sent in
I
your
had-
sending your
Scout?
Eagle Scout. Did you send in your Eagle Scout badge?
No.
Okay.
I've been to one Boy Scout meeting in my life.
So,
You said nope, not
Not
for me.
for me.
and just
Not
to,
for me.
just to be clear, the conversation isn't about whether we should say yes, it's okay for gay kids to be Boy Scouts, and women for that matter, girls. It is
Scouting.
whether we allow the host organizations for the troops to determine whether or not they're going to be allow gay scouts and scoutmasters and women.
I'll make it a local issue.
So make it on a troop. So the way scouts work
states'
is
rights kind of thing.
kind of. There's an analogy here. The way scouts work, as I understand it, is that the place where you have the meetings actually has a fair amount of say into the operations of the troop. There's a national charter that dictates, here are the things we do and here are the things we don't do, and here's what the uniform looks like and all that stuff. But then if you're
And then there's the
hosted by a
local
Presbyterian
councils.
church, local councils. But on a troop by troop basis, if your troop is hosted by a church, then the church says, okay, here are the things. We're not going to meet on Saturday because we're at a synagogue, yada yada.
And then some troops, which posted on their websites saying they would be okay.
Yeah.
All accepting of everyone.
We accept all racist creeds and orientations.
They were shut down.
Yeah.
That messaging was shut down.
By the governing body of
By
Boy
the
Scouts.
overall, yes. So it's really fucked.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to. My personal theory, this is not an official theory of Tested, is that the accounting on figuring out where they get the most donations from is so challenging that they have to figure it out. They have to wait until May to figure it out.
Got to do a big audit before they
Yeah.
can make a decision.
When you got your Eagle Scout badge,
Yes.
did you get a certificate signed by the president
Of the United States?
of the United States?
I don't think it was actually signed by the President of the United States, but
But it was-
his lithograph machine probably did it.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, it's a pen signed it. I was super bummed that when I got mine,
It's like laser printed.
it was George Bush and not Clinton. Because I got it.
You should have been faster.
I should have.
George H.W. or George W?
George W.
Norm is young.
Oh,
I
see,
got-
mine. I have a Clinton one. I'll trade
Actually,
you.
I don't even think it was W. I think it was Dick Cheney.
Oh,
Really?
man.
I'm
no,
not sure.
that-
I just
that's
remember
the
being
worst.
really disappointed. I was really looking forward to a Clinton.
Nobody wants
signature.
that.
Yeah, mine has a Clinton signature.
I really wanted a Clinton signature.
This guy who doesn't even know how to hunt properly or handle a firearm.
Who says he didn't hit that guy in the face on purpose?
What's he doing signing
Teach
Boy
Dick
Scout
Cheney a
certificates?
lesson. Yeah, Boy Scouts.
I bet can't even tie a knot.
Just to be clear, I'm really pro the stuff that I learned in Boy Scouts. I think that Boy Scouts, all kids can benefit from Boy Scouts, and I think it's horseshit that a bunch of bigots in Texas prevent that from happening.
Is that so? That's where the kind of central Boy Scouts
Yeah, it's in
thing
Dallas.
is located.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that
Dallas.
sucks.
Good job, guys. Glee ripped off Jonathan Colton.
Oh man, we're still talking about that.
No, well, I forgot to talk about last week,
Okay.
but it really it is.
It kind of plateaued, right? I don't think there was ever an official response.
No, there was an official response.
Oh, they actually acknowledged it.
Pound sand.
Really?
The official response was, "We don't have to do anything."
Really?
You should be honored by the
What a bunch of assholes.
by the exposure this gets you. Also, we're not going to credit you, which would cost us nothing. We should tell the whole story.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I figured everybody knew it by now, but go ahead.
Jonathan Colton is a guy who makes nerd music, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's good. He did a phenomenal folk cover of Baby arrangement of Baby Got Back, which is a complete. In this case, it's a complete redo of the rhythm, the backing tracks, all that stuff.
It takes some real musicality to do something like that.
Right, and he took the lyrics,
Right.
but basically wrote a whole new song for it.
Yeah.
He went out and got what seemed like the appropriate license at the time, so he could do it legally and sell it and put it on his website and stuff like that.
I believe it was Mix-a-Lot sanctioned.
It was sanctioned by, if not Mix-a-Lot, then the label that owns Mix-a-Lot's music.
Sure.
And then the Chuds at Glee a couple weeks ago for the episode that aired, I think 2 weeks ago, maybe, or last week. I can't remember.
It was a couple-
sometime while the baby was new and I
Yeah.
wasn't paying attention to anything. It aired the exact arrangement all the way down to
And to be clear, they not only performed it on their show.
Yes.
What they do with every song on their show, they sell.
the reason Glee is a massive success is that they sell these tracks on iTunes. The Glee version of "Don't Stop Believing" and all these other songs that show up every week, and they're massive. It's a massive phenomenon.
Did they use audio samples from that bit?
That's unclear.
Okay.
So he thinks that they used some audio samples from his.
But Colton also releases his music under Creative Commons.
He does.
Okay.
So
But with attribution, I'm sure.
I'm sure it's with attribution. Yeah, I'd have to look. And he may not be able to release that under Creative Commons because it's a cover,
Right.
Because he doesn't own the full whatever for that. The upshot is, Fox theoretically, or the producers of Glee theoretically, did nothing wrong. Like under the terms of the license that he has,
Nothing illegal.
nothing illegal.
Is that the final conclusion? Last
That-
I looked into it, which was like 2 days after it happened, he said his lawyers were looking into
Well,
it.
so the question he has is whether they actually took his music, his performance,
Okay.
which would be against copyright because he owns copyright on his performance of the guitar in the background, even if he doesn't own the lyrics.
So this could turn into a protracted legal process of like discovering waveforms and stuff like that, like
Yeah.
presenting like audio analysis in court and stuff like that.
Is
That's
the
when it gets
duck
exciting.
Yeah.
is the duck his duck or
Right.
is it another duck?
Right.
But they even use the same lyrics. Like when he said Johnny C,
Yeah.
referring to himself in the song, they used Johnny C. It's just
crazy.
And the
What a
thing
bunch
is,
of assholes.
Lazy.
all he has to do, all they have to do is say, "Hey, this arrangement was by this dude."
Yeah.
They have a history of doing this, apparently.
Oh, really?
Which is really shitty
bunch
for
of dicks.
a show that's about the underdog.
Right. They
You know,
used
the
to
underdog.
be. They were the underdog. I like the first season. I've never seen it, but you know,
They're
everybody-
on network television.
Well, everybody thought it was like the little show that could the first season and was going to get
That's the
canceled.
message they fed you, man.
Fuck them. I don't care. I
Angry Brad Shoemaker.
genuinely do not care about either side of this. Like I
Yes.
don't care about. I mean, Jonathan Colton seems fine. I'm just not interested in
Yeah.
either of these things. But like they are so clearly philosophically or morally in the wrong, if not
Yeah.
legally.
All they have to do.
What a bunch of
arrangement
dicks.
by this
But
dude.
there have been there's some comeuppance.
He's taking the high road, and he has had catharsis.
He has sold his track again, renamed it as the cover of the Glee cover, and that has surpassed the Glee
Oh, great.
song on
Yes.
iTunes.
Okay.
So he is making some
Okay.
money from this.
Okay.
So if you want to help
good.
Jonathan Colton out against the faceless multinational corporation,
I don't know if I
News
care that
Corp,
much.
Yeah.
spend 99
boat.
cents on iTunes.
All right.
I like the moral high road. But
Not 99 cents worth. What would you do with that 99? It's less than a cup of coffee
It's
a
not,
day.
I just don't. I
yeah,
don't-
there's,
no,
there's
I
a
know.
lot of other things.
It's a good cover. It's
okay.
it's
That's
clever. Hey, there's a new Monopoly piece coming.
I saw that.
Did they get rid of one Monopoly
Yes,
piece?
they
Which is-
lost the iron,
What?
which I think sucks.
Wait.
To add another animal.
To be fair, the best Monopoly piece is a race car.
The shoe.
Thimble.
Whoa.
Whoa, the thimble.
Yeah. Thimble is the dark horse piece. Nobody sees it coming.
The race car is the obvious choice because
Race cars by far-
race cars are for boys. Blah blah blah. Vroom vroom. You can make the
most popular.
Ralph S. Mouse
Wait, is there a
driving
horse?
around.
There's a horse
There's
as
a
well.
there's a man riding a horse.
I do like that piece.
It's a Remington, I think. Actually,
that is my That is my favorite piece. The race car is understandably the most popular.
So the voting was to save the old pieces or to elect a new
No,
piece?
which of the
Like
new
a-
pieces was going to be in?
my
And
goodness.
among the
this
choices,
is how desperate they
So you had to lose an old piece.
I think the old piece was they were getting rid of it regardless.
Okay.
I would have thought the thimble would have been the one to get rid of.
It was the
Or the shoe.
I saw it on the news this morning. It was the iron, the shoe, and the wheelbarrow were the three bottom contenders.
Oh, okay.
Wheelbarrow. Don't lose the wheelbarrow. I want retain the pieces that require the most injection molding or the most craftsmanship.
You know, the horse is a pretty nice looking piece.
That's why I like the horse.
I just like the antique kind of Depression era feel of all that stuff.
So get rid
I
of
think
the
it's
iron.
sad. I think it's sad to lose any.
See,
of
I
that
think
stuff.
they should make those pieces out of lead to give
Because-
people the real taste of the
Ah,
past.
sure.
Chew it a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
put a
because
little
the
bit around.
iron was an old timey like put it in the fire iron.
Yeah.
Not like an electric steam thing
So
or something.
my parents are in town due to the birth of my child.
Sure.
And I learned something horrifying the other day. My mom grew up in England, spent the first 6 years of her life in England, or 5 years of her life, something like that in England. And when she grew up, that was the kind of iron they still used in England. You put one on the fire, and then you took the other one off to do the 2-3 presses,
Yeah.
put it back on the fire, and took the other one off, and 3 more presses. It's crazy.
How's that horrifying?
My mom isn't particularly old.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool though.
Well, I was
Still
surprised. I was just surprised
Everything-
that technology, like a piece of metal on fire technology
man.
in the household, is just
That's
50 years
that is
old, 60 years
elemental.
old.
That is
So-
close to.
Anyway.
come on. Not everything got to have a Wi-Fi in it, Will Smith.
Hey, I want a smart iron.
You don't need a smart iron.
Fuck your smart TV. I want a
I'm
smart
too
iron.
hot. I'm too hot.
A piece of molded iron in a fire is going to get the.
What
job
I want
done.
is a robot iron that reads the RFID tag in my clothes. It's like you're made of 50% lycra and 50%
How
cotton.
about-
I
Here's
want,
the
I want an
temperature you
iron
need.
made today, but it was made to look like it was made 200 years ago.
You are
Yeah,
such a
that
fucking
sounds like
hipster,
that
Chan.
you and your skeuomorphism.
Yeah.
Why stop there? How about self-ironing clothing?
Perfect.
How about nanofiber
Does any-
woven shirts that flatten themselves?
Is there anybody out there that likes ironing?
What if you-
Ironing is the worst thing in the world.
What if your
Makes you feel
shirt
like a
had
real person.
What if your shirt had Wi-Fi?
Grown up.
What if you could open your web app and iron your
Yeah,
shirt?
I would totally do that right
Over
now.
Wi-Fi.
What if they made a game out of it where you had the shirt and you had to run your finger over all sections?
Okay.
But while you were doing that, the robot was actually ironing your real clothes.
Let's say the shirt can also.
I'm
change-
cutting this part of the
Let's say
podcast.
the shirt can also change color while we're at it.
Perfect.
All right.
I would love a color changing shirt.
Cool.
Not like that temperature nonsense. I want like real. It's blue. Norm's wearing a blue shirt today. I'm changing it to green.
Future clothing.
Yeah.
Your jacket is dry.
So the top two for the Monopoly. Hold on. The top two for the Monopoly pieces were a cat and a robot.
Yep.
Now there is a clear winner here
Yeah.
because there's already a dog,
Yep.
so we don't need more household pets.
You would think.
as far as I see.
You would think.
And I just want to say, robots universally awesome.
Yep.
C3PO,
They're very modern.
Robbie.
What design of robot?
I'm thinking like a wind up, like a tin robot with like a wind up
wind-up
key
toy?
on the back.
I think you need to go.
I feel like that
further
fits
back.
that fits the Monopoly
Like some
aesthetic, right?
automata.
Some kind of a clockwork thing.
like the Mechanical Turk.
So remember those plastic Japanese robots from the 50s with
Yeah.
like the little, they had a gauge on the front and like arms
Wind
and
up
stuff like
wind
that.
up robots.
It may not quite
Aluminum.
that, not quite, no, tin is what those were.
Tin robots.
It looks kind of like the plastic versions of those.
Okay.
So it's like a square, it looks like Osimo.
very boxy. Yeah, yeah. That's what I would expect. I don't even need
that
to see
still
it.
looks too modern.
That's
Yeah, it's too modern.
Still looks too modern.
but the
but
cat,
it's better than a cat.
the cat's all smooth lines and it looks like it was sculpted.
Wait, I have a question.
More to the
Legitimate
point,
question.
you just don't need
Was
two
this
animals.
voting put online?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that explains everything.
Yeah, the
Yes,
internet's for cats.
Proving once again that the general public is boring. They
Yeah.
went with the cat.
Nothing but chuds. I'm really disappointed in the cat. Way to go.
Yeah,
Thanks,
like,
Obama.
You really need another animal in there.
No.
Hey, I want to know
More animals.
whether you carry ice makers in stock for sale.
Is this an email for us?
Yes, and if so, email me the size and price ranges for that.
Just tell them we have a 500 gallon a day capacity.
and do you accept credit card for this
That's-
order?
Yes, we do.
That's your equivalent of getting the email complaining that they didn't get their map pack code in their Halo box.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
We get a lot of those. We get a lot of people asking if we sell sprockets too.
Yeah.
Usually from the Pacific Rim. Monopoly pieces. I'm bummed about the robot. And thinking I'm going to take that design, make a 3D model of it, and then print my own. Actually, let's be real. I'm never playing Monopoly again.
Yeah.
Fuck
Well,
Monopoly.
everyone's been playing Monopoly wrong.
fun to joke about.
forever.
Well, yeah. Did we see the same story about this?
This is a year and a half ago.
Okay. Nobody follows the real rules.
Nobody follows rules
Yeah.
because there are simpler rules, easier to understand. That are more kids friendly. But Monopoly has tried to reinvent itself for a long time, ever since the rise of German board
Have
games.
you been in Target since they started carrying German board games?
No.
So it's really weird because like along with Monopoly and Sorry and Life and all that stuff, you will also see Catan and Star Trek Catan and Carcassonne and Ticket to Ride, Small World. What else do they have? Like they had a surprising variety of games. One of the things that happens when you have a kid is you spend a lot more time in Target.
Yeah.
I have in the last 3 weeks, been to Target more times than I probably have in the 5 years preceding.
But not in the not in the toy aisle.
Well, the toy aisle and the
the-
diaper aisle are
just
right
the-
next to each other. I can't imagine why. So yeah, diapers, lots of diapers and nipples and
Sounds
stuff.
fun. I listened to last week's podcast.
Yeah, you should have
Sounds
a kid.
like a blast.
Hey, you're next, Shoemaker. It's either you or Ryan.
Poop up the back. Sounds
Yeah.
like a great time.
The blowout poops of the back. Gary's kid did a poop. It was horrifying.
You saw it?
Yeah, it's like looking into the future. It's
Like,
not good.
Don't wipe. Can't they make diapers that form a seal?
You have to really cinch them down. The kids don't like that too much.
Yeah, I guess not.
So we've been working on toughening up her waist area so that we can really
Okay.
just.
Yeah.
They need like corset
Get her,
laces.
get her doing sit-ups or something.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean like I just wanted to get tougher skin there so we
Okay,
can pull the
okay.
diaper tighter.
Sure.
Surface Pro reviews hit last night. I guess embargo lifted. We didn't get a Surface Pro. I can't imagine why.
Not big enough.
Well, or maybe when you broke the kickstand on the Surface RT, that impacted our.
Did you get that from Microsoft? or
Yeah,
did you buy
they
that?
sent us
Oh,
that one.
And we
really?
didn't send it back yet.
That also is true.
even though they've asked for it back.
Oh no, they didn't ever ask for it back. They said they were going to ask for it back. It's sitting under my desk right now. It's right there. I'm looking at it in a box. It's that black box
Kind
over
of
there.
sad.
Yeah, one flap hanging.
I didn't
open.
read any of the reviews. What did they say?
Nobody likes it. They said it is neither a good tablet nor a good PC. It is kind of mediocre at both.
Who could have seen that coming?
Also, too expensive, and battery life was not so
Why is
hot.
it too expensive when it's comparable price to other Ultrabooks?
Because it's shittier than an Ultrabook.
Performance-wise?
No, just in ability to use it because of the lack of a
that's
real keyboard.
regardless of, in terms of performance.
Does it not come with that mechanical keyboard cover?
It does not come with any
no
keyboard
keyboard
covers.
cover.
It starts
You
at
have to buy that
$900,
separately?
but you have to buy a $100
Yeah.
keyboard cover separately.
And the problem is you can use a laptop on your lap, because the hinge holds the screen.
This
up.
was the big question coming out of the Surface announcement early last year, was whether you could use it on your lap like a laptop.
And the answer is no.
And the answer appears to be, we kind of knew this from the Surface RT, is that it's not nearly as optimal as the firm hinge on a laptop, because it is actually relying on the kickstand. So when you're typing, that the cover, whether it's the touch cover or type cover, is kind of flopping around. It's not very firm.
That sounds unpleasant.
Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good description.
What about its use case as a docked computer, where you plug into an external monitor and plug in accessories and then take it home with you?
I only read a couple of reviews. Ours review was exceedingly negative. Harry McCracken's review over at Time or Technologizer, wherever you decided to read it, was a little more balanced.
Well, Harry McCracken is someone who loves using touch covers.
He loves using
iPads with
Yes.
keyboards built into the covers.
He says that it's a study in compromises. He said it's bulkier than RT, so it's too
that
big
is-
to use as a
that-
tablet.
that is the angle. That is it's the Harbaugh brother angle for this. It's the one that's easy to write and for easy for people to digest. Was that because Microsoft made such a big point of it being a no compromise machine, my headline is going to be that it is about compromises.
Right.
Well-
especially when it purports to be two different things at once. It's easy for people to say, it's probably not a good one.
But the thing is, if it's two things at once, it should be good at one of them.
Right.
And it's not good at either of them by all accounts.
That's the worst possible outcome.
The battery life is really bad. It's
Right.
5 hours, which is okay for a laptop and terrible for a tablet. Just to be clear, my Air 13-inch Air is 5
I don't think
hours
of
on
it
a
as a
good
tablet,
day.
which is
Well, but you can't use it like a laptop. You can't put that on your lap and type. If you're at an airport, you have to find a table.
Like, it quite literally is not a laptop
Yeah.
if you can't use it on your lap.
The capacity thing came up a fair amount in the reviews I read.
Storage capacity.
The storage capacity.
So did I understand correctly that out of the box, the 64 gig has like 23
gigs.
usable?
Yeah.
And then I read that the process to free up more is that you have to create some kind of recovery USB stick off of that
Yeah.
and then delete a bunch of that's who wants to do that?
It's
Who wants to spend $900 on a tablet and the first thing you do is sit there all night creating like a recovery stick just so you have enough space to do stuff?
It's even Harry pointed out that it's slow to wake up. So
Wait, slow as in like relative to
Surface RT, other tablets.
again.
So when you open a Windows machine or a Mac, you open it, and by the time you get the lid up, it's on.
I don't know.
Because you don't have that lid up time.
Not with the Air.
Okay, so maybe not with a Mac then.
Okay.
But when you,
Regular MacBook Pro is instantaneous. Unless I have
it depends on how sleepy it
unless
is.
I have a real lemon of
sleepy it is.
Yeah.
Depends on how sleepy the MacBook
No, it
is.
depends on whether it's in the hibernate mode.
Maybe I have
or
a real lemon of a
standby.
MacBook Air. Maybe I should get you to look at that before I leave.
You,
I
might,
think,
you might have
like it's
corporate IT stuff on there too.
I definitely have that.
Being an x86 Windows, even though I'd say compared to a Windows 7 laptop, Windows 8 boots up much faster
Yes.
from sleep. So that should be the standard.
Yes.
I mean, we've read the Windows 8 reviews. This shouldn't be a review of Windows 8.
Well, but
Like,
but if you're using it
could-
as a tablet, I want to press the power button and it be on.
I think the review
Yeah.
should say
I'm
you should-
comparing this to an iPad, not
I
a
think
bullshit
we
Windows
all
tablet.
agree that Microsoft did not make the right decision launching the service as a tablet device first, laptop second.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I think the right way to do this, and the good thing for Microsoft is they have an ecosystem. The way the Yoga and the HP Envy work is infinitely better because they are laptops first and PCs second.
Well, this
and
does not
tablets
bode
second.
well for that than the Lenovo Helix then. Actually, no, I take it back because the Helix does the one thing the Surface RT or Surface Pro doesn't, which is that
It's an okay tablet.
No, which is that its keyboard is not a cover. Its dock is a locked-in, solid keyboard.
That sounds
good.
Also battery pack. So when you fold that and you have it on your lap, it is firm and it is a laptop. It does not feel any different. The weight distribution might be a little different because the weight's more in the lid part because that's where the computing hardware is. But you can hold it by you can hold it by the keyboard and it won't flop around.
The other thing that came up in all the reviews I read, or both the reviews I read, basically said that Windows 8, even with the tweaks that they made since launch, and specifically for this device, when you're using x86 apps, you have to use a mouse or another pointing device. The touchscreen is not really good for traditional desktop apps.
As the only
As the
mode,
primary,
the cursor.
you can't.
That stands to reason.
Yeah,
What about the pen?
I didn't see anything about that. I don't remember anything about the
That's a
pen.
big deal about the Surface Pro.
Actually, I'm looking at Harry's review right now. He says that the pen, it was still. He said it felt like tapping the right thing felt like threading a needle on the desktop. So, even when using the pen,
Because
because the thing is, you tap it and the cursor is always a little off from the pen.
the perfect use case is something like the Helix then, where you use it as a laptop first.
Yeah.
You have the dock in. But when you need to use it as a tablet, the only way using it as a tablet is the one-handed with the pen for drawing something.
Or finger, for browsing web. Yeah, I'm. This is not good for Microsoft.
No. So do you think the Surface initiative is going to die on the vine?
Well, there are reports in that they actually sold much fewer Surfaces, and that return rate is extremely high for Surface
Really?
RT.
Well, why for $500? If you're going to spend $500 on something, go get an iPad or get two Nexuses.
So I think in their earnings report they said they shipped X number, or maybe they didn't give it even a specific number, but they shipped it contributed to their bottom line. I think is exactly what they said. Sure, they sold some,
But it's not looking good.
but I think what the analysts have said based on surveys and they call stores and Microsoft stores and do consumer surveys is their estimates say that it's sold well under 1 million
Wow.
units.
well
and
under 1 million.
Well
units.
under 1 million units, and return rate was quite high.
Yikes.
In that same time period, Apple sold 22 million iPads.
Is this all bad for Windows Phone as well? Or do you
I
those
think
do you
Windows Phone
those
is a
are
separate thing at this
separate
point.
enough that it doesn't really have any bearing?
With its
Yeah.
own
Well, I mean, I guess
different set of challenges.
Well, the main thing is that it might impact the development of apps, right? Like the software support might lag a little bit with.
I have not seen a
fewer
developer
installed-
yet tout, Windows 8 and Windows Phone 8
Yeah, I guess so.
cross-platform compatibility,
Right.
great unified.
no universal
everything.
app stuff.
So IHS Supply said that Microsoft shipped 1.25 million Surface units and sold about 700,000 of them. But like you said, the return rates were high. I wonder what a high return rate is. Is it 20% or is it 10%
I
or
think 30%.
30? Well, that's not good. Yeah, I mean, so there's two things to note. One is that this is very similar to the initial Kindle Fire launch, and they came back from a.
But the Kindle Fire launch was a high return rate because people jumped on it because of how cheap it was relative.
I don't think
to-
it had that high a return rate either. I think they had low sales, lackluster
You
sales.
think Kindle Fire had low sales?
The first one.
No way. I think the Kindle Fire 1 at $200 sold very well. And I think the return rate was high, is what we heard.
Well, we
because-
have no way of knowing because Amazon never
the
releases
U-
numbers.
Well, they don't release numbers. But
You guys are not big fans of the Kindle Fire, right?
the second gen stuff was
The-
great.
the
yeah.
HD?
The HD?
Yeah.
It's actually good.
Like I wouldn't buy it for me because I have more specific demands. But if you want an ebook reader that's also good for watching video
Yeah.
and buying shit from Amazon, yeah,
I
it's great.
saw a really interesting TV ad for the Kindle Fire HD this morning, which
Which
was it was basically a side by side. You might have seen it. It's a side by side comparison of the current iPad and the Kindle Fire HD.
The 8.9?
Yeah, and they don't in any case go out of their way to say our thing is better than their thing. The best they ever say about it is our thing is as good as their thing. It's like this is the iPad. It has a beautiful Retina display, and then it's like
Yeah.
here's the Kindle Fire. It has a beautiful high res display. Like it's kind of point for point. Like we're probably as good as them, and
Yeah.
then they slide over the prices.
Yeah.
like that. The strategy is we're pretty much as good as them. We're just $200 cheaper.
Well, I think value has been Amazon's key differentiator for 15 years now,
Yeah.
right? I think that's good. Yeah, the second gen stuff, the HD stuff was good. Was I would buy that for a
And
friend.
it's selling well.
yeah,
People are happy
or
with it.
it seems to. I mean, who knows? Galaxy S4 is rumored for March 15.
It has
Like
been over
launch?
a year. No,
Yeah,
April
unveiling.
launch.
Okay.
Mobile World Congress is this month, but I think Samsung's big enough now that they will do their own thing, which they did last year.
Yeah.
The GS3 launch was delayed quite a bit, I think.
What was it delayed? It wasn't Steve Jobs' death.
Yes, it was Steve Jobs' death.
Wow.
Was the stated delay from October to, I think it was
Well, Google delayed their press conference.
CTIA,
and-
Shanghai,
yeah.
or China or something.
So that's like a year and a half between
Well,
Galaxy S.
That's actually I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
It's about a year between GS3 availability and GS4, but if you factor in the Galaxy Nexus, which is basically a GS3, then it's a little more. I mean, obviously the GS3 was an improvement over the Galaxy Nexus in terms of hardware, design. I mean, it used Samsung's own thing, but one interesting thing, we all saw that Super Bowl ad with Paul Rudd and Seth Rogen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was for Galaxy, the GS3, and
Well, that was.
Samsung's
I thought that was
stuff.
more of just for Samsung Galaxy rather than.
Yeah.
And it
Set
was
a particular
only
product.
for, but mostly the GS3, which is their more success. Galaxy and Nook or Note and the Tab stuff. But no mention of Android at all. No,
You don't think they're going to drop Android?
No, they're not going to drop Android.
Yeah.
It's
They're
just
just
that
they're de-emphasizing it in the marketing.
100%
Like they're establishing Galaxy and Samsung as like the desirable brands. right?
Yes.
Like do you guys
As a hardware
like
brand.
watching like all the commentary about Apple's stock falling and their kind of questionable future or whatever. And well, not in the sense that they're going away. but
Man,
in
they
the
only
sense
sold
that-
22 million
Well,
iPads.
no, I mean in the sense that like maybe their innovation, the well of innovation is sort of starting
What
to
does
run dry.
that
or whatever.
mean?
Who knows? I'm saying that's the story that is going around in the media.
yeah.
easy story to tell.
Do you feel like it almost feels like the narrative is shifting where like the Galaxy line is becoming like the coveted
Oh, absolutely.
hot consumer line.
I think
like iPhone is no longer seen as like a desirable status symbol.
I think surprisingly for some people, Samsung has done very well both in the U.S. and overseas, especially overseas in Korea, Japan, and China.
With the Note.
And part of that stems from the fact that they have a diverse product line that meets many, many price points. They have strong, aggressive marketing with the Galaxy brand, and they control hardware very well. Their hardware, screens, processors, memory, all of that, so they can make a lot of money off that. In all the ways that Apple controls both hardware and software, but it's very locked down, very focused direction for their products.
Well, and the other side of it is that they have actually finally gotten the software to the point that it's pretty good. I mean,
And
they're
both-
writing they have
and
their
that's-
own software.
That's in the both,
Yeah.
due to Google and Samsung.
Yeah.
Because Samsung had to work with bad Android. Now they're working with good Android,
Right.
and they've learned more things. I mean,
Instead of making bad Android worse, they're making good Android good or better.
I mean, it's the reason that Apple went straight after Samsung last year in the lawsuits.
Yeah. Biggest threat.
And also, yeah, you're right. Galaxy is the brand.
Yeah.
I mean, Samsung makes it, but it is worldwide. They're promoting Galaxy, which is tremendous. I mean, a brand that did not exist.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
Actually, it didn't exist. It
4
didn't
years ago.
exist for the
2010 was when they
yeah.
did it.
Well, in the U.S., it didn't launch until 2011, really, because the Galaxy S phones in the U.S. were all branded specifically Galaxy S1. Yeah, that's a big deal.
But in terms of innovation in iPhone and Apple, more people are falling in line to believing they're going to release a 5-inch iPhone.
I thought what you said about this was pretty spot on, Norm.
So if you look at the Apple lineup in stores, Apple 5, iPhone 5,
Yeah.
4 inches phone, a little less than 4 inches, next to the entire lineup of Android devices on the Surface.
It looks dainty.
And having used Galaxy, the Nexus 4 for a while now, it feels smaller. And whether that's objectively, subjectively a good thing is up to the user. But in store, when you look at it, your mind thinks that you have a more limited selection, and there is something. And just anecdotally talking to people, they like the bigger screen.
Well, it's Goldilocks marketing, right?
The bigger is better.
Big, small, and just
the Galaxy
right.
marketing
Right.
is next big thing.
Yeah.
Next big thing is already here. Is their big tagline.
So that's the Galaxy Note then. They're not going to do a Galaxy S4 because the big thing is
no.
the Galaxy Note.
The next big thing over here was for GS3.
Oh.
Galaxy Note is it a tablet? Is it a phone? It's the best of both. Galaxy Note 1 and 2.
See, now that's a way to make a thing that's the best of two things.
Is it
Let's
though?
be clear.
Oh, come on.
Enough people like it. It has to be.
How
good.
big is that?
5
5
inches.
It's 5
inches.
Dude, that's way too big. That is not the best phone.
But you don't carry. You're not carrying a purse or a man bag.
I don't care.
You should carry a bigger purse,
I don't
Brad.
think it's pleasant to use. We'll get into this later, but
Yeah.
I
We'll
don't
get
think
into
that
it
is
later.
pleasant one-handed operation.
There's a member of the tested dev team who carries the Galaxy Note 2.
Yeah, we've worked with a guy who has one. Every
Yeah.
time I see him walking around with it, I'm like, what is that thing growing out of your hand? That thing's huge.
But when I've used the Galaxy Note 2,
Yeah.
and I can see the entire calendar on one screen with every appointment on the calendar listed, not just like a small, like you have 5 things for one day, but actually each item, that's awesome.
Just need
Sure.
higher
I'm
resolution.
not debating that there aren't like
Well, high
viable
resolution
use cases.
Higher,
for it.
higher resolution for iPhone doesn't mean anything
I know.
because high resolution they just double the pixels.
Yeah.
And they don't actually pack more in. So the idea for the 5-inch iPhone, which that might
We talked about this last week a little bit, didn't we?
we did, but we kind of dismissed it.
I think that's the right answer.
As we didn't think it was going to happen.
Yes.
It would be very un-Apple-like in that they're like chasing the offering of their competitors rather than
See, that is
coming up with their
that
own
is a very
thing.
classic argument
Yeah.
for an Apple fan.
Yeah.
I think we have to reconcile the fact that we live in a world where Apple is a business like every other business,
Sure,
and they're not run by magical fairies.
I was going to say that like
And-
the magical thinking going on at the top of the company is no longer there.
And well, no, not even that. But they make money. They want to make money for the shareholders.
Yeah,
And they can see,
yeah, sure.
where they can find most growth
Yeah.
and what people want to use. And they have to appease a larger customer base that are buying iPads and iPad Minis. That's 2 different sizes of iPad.
Yeah.
So why not have 2 different
Sure.
sizes?
I just hope it doesn't indicate that they are out of their own ideas.
I think it's going to go the other way. I think it's going to be an iPhone Micro. I think it's a 2.5-inch iPhone.
It actually,
the Zoolander was the future, man.
the name thing really confuses me because.
iPhone Maxi.
Right.
Ugh.
Within the iPad line, you had iPad 1, or it's iPad. You had iPad 2. Then you had iPad with Retina. They never called it.
Yeah.
Never have called it the iPad 3.
Right.
And then they called it the 4th generation iPad.
I mean, I've had Apple Store employees refer to the iPad 4.
Doesn't count.
I know,
Doesn't
I'm
count.
sure.
Like
I know it's colloquial, but
in the
they
press
just say
release
it.
and
Yeah, I know.
According to the messaging, it is 4th generation iPad with Retina,
Right.
not iPad 4. So I guess it's just iPad.
So wouldn't that really be the second generation iPad with Retina?
And with the iPad Mini, they obviously have iPad Mini, and then they have. So I think it makes most sense that they have 2 products, iPad and iPad Mini.
That's 3 products because they have an iPhone too.
Well, in terms of the tablet line.
Oh, okay.
iPad and iPad Mini,
Right,
and then every time they cycle it, they'll have the new iPad and a new iPad Mini.
What if they have
and
the
just
iPad
continue
Maxi
the old
Mini?
one. But
Stop.
the problem is that they still
Very
sell
small.
the iPad 2
Yeah.
as an individual SKU, as the low end SKU. They do for a bunch of reasons: education. They do it for retail.
I don't
stuff
really
like that.
care, it turns out.
With the iPhone, they chose to call it iPhone 3GS or 3GS, 4, 4S, 5. We presume 5S. If they do something with a different size, they will have to have another naming series.
Is this
iPhone Maxi.
is the bigger screen size purely you guys' speculation, or is that rumor going around?
There's a rumor going around.
Yeah.
This is the first I've heard of it. Everything I've heard before today was there will be a low end, like mostly plastic iPhone.
So those are the
coming.
two big rumors.
Okay.
That Apple will do a low cost plastic back one for China to make more money
Okay.
on, that they can sell lower cost. I'm not sure about that. And two, that they will do a 5-inch phone. And the story behind that one was really weird because it came out of a report that called the iPhone Math, which is absurd as a name.
Sure.
But then smart people on the internet deduced that it might be a translation error, and instead of it being math, it's actually the plus symbol,
iPhone
and
Plus.
so it would be called iPhone Plus.
And
As opposed to iPad
Plus,
mini.
I don't know if that kind of calls to mind like plus size. I don't know if that's
Maybe that's what they're going for.
now from Lane Bryant.
right. I don't know that that's the image they want to get across.
The
Well,
way
it's
they've
iPhone more.
the thing that they've ascertained is by looking at panel size. It's the same way they figured out what the mini was and what the Retina resolution was going to be. Or sorry, what the
They just recut the
iPhone 5 resolution was
yeah.
going to be.
cut the screen from the iPad with Retina,
Yeah.
and then make that. So if you take an iPad with Retina and you draw something that's 5 inches, that's
5 inches.
So
in the
are
right
there
aspect ratio.
are there well, so that was my question, was what the speculative aspect ratio
It would
is
be
going
the
to
same
be.
as
Same,
iPhone.
yeah, the aspect ratio on a
Same as
5-inch
the-
iPhone.
same
Same
as the
pixels
5?
too. Yeah, same as the iPhone 5.
So you don't think they'll go back to what was the original iPhone aspect ratio? It was like 4 by
4 by 3.
4 by 3. You don't think they'd go back to that?
No.
16 by 9.
You think 16?
The future is the aspect ratio of the
Okay.
iPhone 5.
I wasn't sold on it when they first announced it, but like we've done some video with it in the office.
It looks
and,
great.
And it amazingly like it's actually better to take video off of the iPhone than the iPad because you get a full 16 by 9
Yeah.
video window.
Yeah, the iPad only works really when you're doing landscape.
Yeah.
Is that right? Landscape. Yeah.
Yes.
The I just think a 5-inch iPhone with this aspect ratio is going to look real silly.
Well,
It's
you can
gonna
cut
be-
the top.
Yeah. It's going to look really long.
The idea is that you would cut chin and forehead from it.
But then there's no home button.
Well, there's a home button, but there's still a lot of space above.
Well,
below
if
the
they're
phone.
if they're going to maintain 16 by 9, then it'll also get wider.
That's true. But
The
just
aspect
just a little
ratio
bit
will be the
wider.
same. But I mean, the proportions will be the same.
Yeah, no, I know.
The whole-
I'm just
the
saying
whole
it's
housing.
going to be a really long phone.
Right.
Anyway,
Right.
'Cause the iPhone 5 is pretty
I mean,
tall.
it'll but it won't be any longer relative to the width than this one is what I mean.
Norm, do
So
you want to talk about Dell? Have we exhausted iPhone talk?
Yes.
Okay.
This is a quick story. Dell has bought back itself from the shareholders.
That's probably
It's
a good
now
move.
A private company. Microsoft has invested some money in this without trying to not look
A
like they were playing
non-controlling
favorites.
yeah.
And I think it's a good move. Dell really does need to reinvent itself.
Is Michael Dell still going to be involved with Dell?
Yes, absolutely. He was one who spearheaded this.
So he wanted.
He wanted to go back.
So he put. I assume
yeah.
he put some of his own money back in to buy the company
yes, and other investors as well.
I assume
Interesting.
Dell's best days are behind it at the moment.
back. Well, I mean, Apple's best days were behind them at one point.
Well, I'm not saying they
HP's
can't get
there's always
better,
a
but I'm
turnaround.
saying they're down, right?
They are. There was a Verge story this morning that's like the list of Dell's failures over the last 10 years. And it's pretty
And
much
it's-
every product they've launched.
It might be in line with decreasing PC demand, but it's not that other PC companies aren't doing very well.
The problem is that they tried to become the Walmart of PCs, and when the PC became a commodity, then that left them in a kind of gnarly place. Because the place to make money on PCs is in higher end stuff, and if you're the cheap guy, then the margins are thinner and thinner every year, and they can't compete with. They sent all their manufacturing to Foxconn, who then ASUS started using Foxconn to build the same thing that Dell was building, and at a much cheaper rate. So yeah.
Okay, let's quickly
bummer
go
for
because
them.
we need to talk about what we're testing.
Bay Bridge Lights.
I guess I've got stuff.
Let's skip that for later.
Okay, we'll talk about it later. A Mophie iPhone 5 case. Don't buy this.
Don't buy the Mophie.
Don't buy the Mophie.
I've bought one so we can test it.
Okay, I'm just saying.
I know
buy the standalone power pack that has a USB plug. Don't buy the thing that becomes a case
because you cannot use it for
because you
future
can't use it
products.
for future
Yes.
products. It's only as long as that phone lasts.
But the argument for the case is that it is permanently on your
I
phone.
understand that.
So specifically for if you're keeping it in your pocket for all day, lots of use.
If okay, so then let's do a corollary.
Okay.
If you frequently find yourself running out of iPhone juice at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
buy the Mophie case. If you find yourself running out of iPhone battery at the end of the day once or twice a month or once or twice a week,
Then buy the separate battery pack that
battery
you can
pack
use with other
for
USB.
your tablet or for whatever else. Yeah.
Yes.
Able is shipping So Able Brewing, we've talked about them a ton. They make that metal cone for the Chemex. They also launched with their Kickstarter a ceramic brewing system. The cone shipped middle of last year. They had some delays on the brewing system because he wanted to make sure it was exactly right.
He was a
right on the back.
real perfectionist about the ceramic
Keith,
stuff.
We've talked to Keith a bunch.
Yeah.
He is absolutely perfectionist is the right thing. I mean,
Right.
I think he said he made at least 40 revisions to the
Right.
cone to test different things, and I think he did the same thing with this brewing pot.
I'm in, as I think you are, on the full ceramic
Yeah.
system. I have been since. I mean, it's been
The Kickstarter was in like
8
April.
10 months. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been a long time, but like.
Did you get
And
the
September was the projected shipping date for the full
Yeah.
set, and it's
Well, he had to retool it a couple times.
Right.
since
So
then.
so the thing it was my first Kickstarter that I've backed, and
Oh.
the only thing I was going to say was it was easy to forgive all the delays because he was very forthcoming about here's
Right.
why
Yeah.
it's delayed, here's what's going on, here's why the last prototype I wasn't happy with.
and you got a voucher or a code?
Yeah, he found a way for. So it was the problem with the ceramics, and he was
Yeah.
obsessing over even stuff like the spout drips too much and stuff like that.
Well, and if you wanted to go ahead and get your metal filter earlier and buy the problem with Kickstarter is at least at the time you couldn't do 2 shipping surveys, so he couldn't say, okay, well I'm going to do a shipping survey now for the part that's done, and then do another one later for the brew pot. But what he did was gave us a code that let us buy the cone at cost if we wanted to, which I thought was really nice. And like you said, the details, the updates were obsessive in their detail, which I appreciate.
So, you can stand to wait for a better quality product.
And I have a Chemex already, so I was fine.
I don't have any of that stuff. We're gonna have to talk once that thing comes in about how to use it right.
Yes. We're going to do a whole set of videos and redo a lot of our old coffee
Am
stuff.
I gonna have to get anything else? I assume that.
A pour kettle is not a bad idea, but you can do it with if you have good control with just a normal like tea kettle, you can probably do okay.
I've got just
Yeah.
How long are you gonna stand there pouring?
For
Make to like it's
Two-
like 32 ounces of I think is what that thing holds.
Well, but you can make more coffee than that. The way you can put as much, it's like a normal coffee basket. You can put as much coffee in as you want. You just run more water through it.
Oh, I know, but
That's a lot.
the ceramic thing that he is selling. is a
I think
32
that's
ounce
32
pot.
ounces. Yeah. If you want to make more, then you need a Chemex to go with it.
So
But,
how slow are you going to be?
ideally, linger time from total time from pouring the water into the pot to coffee out and dumping the basket out and cleaning it is about 4 minutes.
That's not too bad.
With an actual probably 2.5 minutes of pour, maybe 3 minutes
Oh,
of pour.
that's no big deal.
Yeah, so it's not. It's. I can do it one handed with the baby if I have time.
That's a risky maneuver.
No, you hold the baby above the boiling water, not below.
Great.
Not when you're tired and making
Great.
I don't make mistakes, Chen.
coffee. Okay. Famous last words.
Yeah. Sony ends mini disc production. I thought we talked about this before, but
Just
rip mini disc.
Yeah.
no more mini discs.
8-track
I
for
didn't know
life.
that they were still making
The
mini discs.
UMD is still going strong though, right?
8-track. No, UMD's done, dude. Oh, bad disc formats. And that'll do it for news this week, unless we have anything else that we have missed. I'm going to play some music, and then we'll talk about what we've been testing.
Can I go first?
Hey, Brad, what have you been
Oh
testing?
my God, I've been waiting for so long.
We've been talking about this
I've
since like December.
All right,
Maybe
all right.
Thanksgiving.
Item number 1:
iPhone 5.
information operating system.
I'm sorry.
iOS, I think you call it. I don't know.
Oh, I think it's
Hey, watch the phone.
Did you just get this?
Drag this across a rough
No
surface. What are
scratchies.
you doing?
Just get this?
No,
Why are you so coddling it?
because I don't know. It's shiny.
Have you looked at Adam's
Your,
iPhone?
your
Norm?
phone looks much
Oh
shinier
well,
than
I've
mine.
had to swap it out a couple times.
I'm just looking at it right now. It looks much newer.
I traded up from a 32 to a 64 at the end of my first month
Whoa!
because I was like, man, I want space.
What? Really?
Yeah.
What are you using that
What are
space
you-
for?
what are you putting on
Wait,
there?
wait ahead of ourselves. How did you come?
And
to
then
this
and then that one ended up having a dead pixel on it that I just traded out for.
That's the reason to
So
trade it.
this phone's about a week old.
Oh,
Now
no
you're-
wonder it looks so
Now
nice.
you're dragging it around on this rough table.
Oh, Brad,
wood,
you know what?
Brad.
Let me tell you.
I'm gonna have to look at your. Wow.
You get. Well, I put a sticker on the
Holy
back,
shit.
but you get over that
Is
stuff
this
real
my
quick.
is this my future?
You look at the bottom.
So when I traded out for the dead pixel, I had like one big fat scuff on the top.
You know
but
what? You
I
get over that.
Gentlemen, this is
Real
why
quick.
you go white.
I just decided to
Look,
eat it.
It's gouged to hell. You can't even see it.
right,
It's
all right.
perfect. Mistakes.
I do hope I get over it. I have.
You
kind
will
of-
get over
I
it.
have sort of gotten over it, but that's no reason to put it at unnecessary risk. But anyway.
Okay.
Forget all
How
that.
did you get to the iPhone 5?
So you
Like
you
what made me decide to
yes.
get it?
you've walked a long road to get here.
You
been
on
a
a
long
Windows
road.
phone?
It's been a long road.
Getting from there to here. I mean, I bought into the iPhone with the 3G.
Yeah.
And planned to get my contract was up like right when the 4 came out.
Yeah.
All set to get one of those.
That was a great upgrade.
Thought it looked great, and then Antenna Gate happened, and I was like, I'll give it like a couple weeks and see if that's actually really a big deal.
Yeah.
And it kept going and going, and I sort of half forgot about it.
Yeah. And then by the time...
And then you had a Windows phone sitting around that you weren't using.
That's true.
And I stuck my SIM card in it
Yeah.
and started using that.
Filthy.
Wait,
And at some point, it was like, all right, well, it was literally just like the upgrade creep of, it's been long enough since the 4 came out that they're probably, this was several months at this point.
So then you waited for the 4.
And I was like, screw it. I don't want to be on contract with the 4, and then the 4, like the next phone comes out and
Yeah.
it's way better.
if we recall, the wait from the 4 or from the 3GS to the 4 was longer than a year.
Was it?
Just a little bit.
It was long because it went from spring
Year
update
and like 3 months.
to summer update.
So I mean, I had gotten. I mean, the Windows Phone was way better than the 3G I had, and I like got a few months out of that. And I was like, at this point, I'll just hold out until the 4S comes out.
And then the
wait from
4S came out.
4S,
4S
was
came
also
out.
a long time, a year and a couple months.
And it was like, it's the same phone. I don't really care.
Siri wasn't worth upgrading
No.
for, it turns out. You were
And
right.
so you skipped out on subsidies.
And I didn't
by-
want,
but
yeah,
you stuck
which
on the
was
contract.
probably sucky thing
Oh,
to
I'm
do.
sorry to
I don't
hear
know, but I mean, I had that phone that you guys let me borrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I didn't want to be on another contract on the 4S when it was barely upgraded over the 4.
Yeah.
So when they finally announced this one, I was like, all right, that's it. That's the phone I've been waiting for. LTE, big screen.
And then the scuffs happened.
Let's go. Oh,
So you're still on AT&T?
switched to Verizon. Nice. The scuffs didn't put me off. What put me off was like the idea of having to like show up at the Apple Store
At 6
before
a.m.
they
Okay.
open every day and like try to get in on stock.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I basically waited until early December, at which point it was around Thanksgiving was the time when everybody was like, you know what, you can just walk into the store and get it now.
Yeah.
That's all I was waiting for. But
So okay, I want to know what the experience is like going from, because the main gripe that the grognards have about iOS these days is that it never changes and it's the same OS. So going from an iPhone 3G, which I guess you were running iOS 4 on,
I put 4 on it briefly, and then
which was a mistake.
Downgraded to 3 point whatever.
Because if you recall, that was the one that had
terrible.
performance problems and like
Terrible.
search didn't work, and
Yeah.
it was a bad update.
Okay,
Okay, so
let me put this in context for you. The last time I used iOS before I got this phone,
yes,
they didn't have folders.
okay. I don't really use folders very much, so give me some more
I'm just
context
saying,
here.
They didn't have notification center.
Wow.
Yeah,
Don't
So you just had the
notification
pop-ups.
centers are meh.
I don't even remember.
But
what it had.
the choice in notifications is the important thing.
like none of that was there.
it was
None of
just that modal dialogue.
Like I thought, I got this thing and it had iOS 6 on it. I was like, this is amazing. Like everything works and makes
Yeah.
sense.
Multitasking. You didn't have multitasking.
It did not have multitasking.
Yeah,
Didn't have
'cause you-
any of that.
Yeah, no
Multitasking was a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like so.
Copy and paste. You had copy and
Multitasking.
paste.
Yes, that had been added.
Quotes.
So I mean, one of the big problems with the Windows Phone I had was that the task switching was very unreliable. I don't know if you guys have.
It's something I've complained about. The Windows 8 phones are much better, but yeah, Windows
sure they
Windows
are.
Phone 7 phones were grim.
I mean, there is a task switching interface, but like it would, if you let's say you loaded an app and you wanted to switch back to it later, but if you had loaded say 4 or 5 more apps since then, it was just gone.
Yeah, and
Like,
well,
it just
and if the app
vanished.
didn't support the right protocols, it
Right.
wouldn't restore state.
But I never knew about any protocol business because they don't surface any of that to the user.
No.
It's just a bad experience where some of your apps don't stick around like they're
Yeah,
supposed to.
like Twitter.
Yeah. Yes, Twitter.
Twitter was the one that broke me on Windows Phone.
Twitter also, from day one, the official Twitter client, all the way through the 2 years I used that phone, would randomly hard crash the entire phone.
Yeah.
Just when I loaded it. Loading Twitter would reboot the phone.
I think, in fairness, that was a day one Windows Phone 7. I went to the AT&T store and bought that on the day that they were available.
Yeah.
So it could have had some hardware jankiness.
Maybe,
but
maybe.
anyway,
Had to completely restore the phone at one point because it got stuck in a boot loop.
yeah.
Just a real bad experience.
Well, and the fact that you had to use the Zune stuff to
Yeah.
transfer and
Had to-
update and
had
all
to-
that was a
and
real
see,
pain in the ass.
I'm on Macs all over the place, so I had to use
Yeah.
that Windows Connect app that they have.
So,
It just
okay.
it was not great.
So Windows, iOS,
So I came back over and like Notification Center was a revelation. The task switching was a revelation.
Game Center.
Game Center seemed really neat.
I got a friend request from you and it made me smile.
As much as everybody likes to malign Game Center, I thought it was okay.
It's
It's not great.
The thing about Game Center is for the games that support it well, like, it's great for board games.
Yeah.
Because it'll do essentially play by email rules where you can where you pop up and you make your turn, then they get the notification and all that.
Right.
For like real connection, I wouldn't want to play
real-time
Quake
stuff, like, forget
over
it.
Great
Yeah.
Game Center. Yeah.
I did play a little bit of Writer Rumble, which was okay.
Yeah.
That's synchronous
Yeah.
multiplayer.
That's what used to be called. What did it used to be called? It was Word Fighter.
Word Fighter, and they had to change the name.
Yeah.
But so like I got.
Is that the one?
Yeah, it's out. It's Writer Rumble.
Yeah.
They
Writer
real
Rumble?
sneakily
Holy crap.
they rolled it out.
Totally need to get that.
It's like $1.
Yeah.
So the game that was really blowing up, that was kind of the big proof of concept for me, was Letterpress. Like that had just gotten big right before I got my phone.
Yeah.
And that one, like you said, is just like you see when people play their turns, and like that worked super well. That was a great experience.
If you want to destroy your desire to play letterpress, get about 300 people to start games with you. That was a mistake.
Yeah, I can
Sorry,
see
guys.
that. I've got maybe 10 going at a time.
That seems like a more reasonable number.
It's a good number. I also, I mean, forgive me anybody who sent a friend request, but I limit my list to people I know.
Yeah.
Which makes the games a lot
For
more
reals.
a lot more meaningful.
Yeah.
Easier to keep track of. But
Yeah.
having software on the phone has been so great.
You mean
Like
apps that do the
apps.
things you want?
Third-party apps like
Yeah. What are your favorite? What's your top 5? What's on your home screen right now, Brad?
Dropbox.
Dropbox. Is
Something
pretty
as
good.
basic as
Dropbox.
Like, I'm not even saying like, oh, this is a neat app. It's just like core functionality that everybody
Yeah.
should have on a smartphone.
Do you have the Google app on there yet?
Get the Google
Maps?
app.
No, Google.
No,
Google
I have Maps. I have Gmail.
Okay, Google search.
Really?
Yes.
I'm going to show you why
What
right
good?
now.
What good? What is that? Sell me.
Who is Brad Shoemaker? Brad Shoemaker on Twitter. Brad Shoemaker, video game person.
Wow.
Giant Bomb,
Wow.
Wikipedia, the free
All right.
encyclopedia.
Getting it.
And
So
it's
it's just voice-enabled Google search.
voice-enabled Google search
But
that's
you're
faster
right.
than Siri.
But it gives you contextual responses. For example, when does baseball season start? And then, maybe
Oh,
that's
wow.
this one. But
It does. They don't verbalize the.
they do verbalize if you have like.
if you want.
Hold on, I got it.
I got this. How old is Beyonce?
I think you're on silent.
This is something I actually used. And then it will have like the.
How old is Beyonce?
Beyonce is 31 years old.
That's
There you
actually
go.
that's a better sounding voice than Siri.
Yeah, it's better than Siri in every way.
Is that that's not the Google Now stuff from the Nexus 7,
It is
right?
not. The Google Now is smart cards that provide like preemptive, context-aware
Okay,
stuff
so this-
about
this
your
is less-
search
this
and
is less
like what you're
capable
doing
than
next.
that.
It is less capable than that.
Okay. Still seems pretty neat.
Google Maps is really good. The Gmail app's quite good. I find myself
got
using
that.
Fantastical is great if you find the calendar app limited.
It works fine for me.
What else is on your home screen?
Oh gosh. What have we got here? I've got a lot of like forum stuff, like a lot of the forum, like gaming forums I read have either mobile sites or apps that work really well. But I mean, in terms of like stuff I was missing on the Windows Phone, it's like I said, it was Dropbox, like Uber
Yeah.
was not available. Just real basic stuff that you would expect to have on your phone. Forget like crazy games or more kind of niche, like specialized stuff. It was
Kindle?
just yeah.
Well,
like-
Kindle was on Windows.
so I
Phone.
think Windows Phone is starting to fill that stuff in very slowly.
The 8 release definitely is. So
Yeah,
I'd say
right.
7 is probably getting orphaned.
So
at
that
this point.
that was my big like the Windows Phone 8 stuff was really getting shown around the time that the iPhone 5 was coming out.
Yeah.
And with the new Xbox coming and the Surface looked promising, I was like, all right,
Are you off the points needle?
hard decision time. Like yeah, enough to the point that I don't care about getting. Oh, actually, whatever. Now you can get achievement points on the iPhone. They launched Wordament,
Oh, right.
which
And
was
the
the
Xbox
big,
app.
the big Windows Phone word game is now on.
I actually quite like Wordament. It's on Windows 8 as well.
It's a neat
Yeah.
neat game, but the Wordament app for iOS lets you earn Xbox achievements. It's crazy.
Perfect.
It's,
Everybody
it's,
wins.
It's a new day.
Okay.
But yeah, pretty much couldn't be happier. Like the biggest thing that I miss was all the ambient data from the Windows Phone home screen. Like the Windows
Did you?
Phone home
So
screen is
what
great.
did you actually see? I find myself when I use the Windows Phone for any extended period of time, I find that I use the ambient data on the calendar app, and that's pretty much it.
Calendar was a big one. Absolutely.
Yeah, because
Calendar
like next appointment is a really useful piece of
That's
information.
huge. Like,
yeah.
so I mean, you can get that in. I have it in Notification Center, but that's still an extra step. I have to unlock the phone and pull down a thing that shows me my calendar.
I wish that would just show on lock screen. Actually, like
That-
if you
that
have
would
an
be great.
appointment in the next
Yeah.
8 hours, it
Yeah.
should just show up on the lock
Absolutely.
I
screen.
have it on Android.
Yes, you
yeah,
do.
like they should totally have that. It was mainly calendar and email because on the Windows Phone you can have a separate icon for each inbox.
Okay.
And I mean, we need to simplify this, but at the moment I'm using 3 different Gmail boxes.
Yeah.
For work.
I'm supposed to help with that. I think, aren't I?
We really need to
Yeah.
address that. But since you could have a different icon for each of those inboxes, you can see how many new messages you
Or
have.
you can just put a unified inbox together and then you're done.
Yeah, But I mean, so on the iPhone, I have to drill down into the Mail app and look at the different inboxes in there to see what's what.
Oh.
All I can see is I have 111 new emails, but I don't know which.
But you can look at an
some of my-
amalgam of all the.
Some of my addresses are way more important than others. Is what I'm saying.
Right.
Like,
Well, that is always the case.
Inbox 0.
I'm way past that. I've got like 3,000.
At one point, you just wipe.
I feel like
and
I
mark
should,
all
I
as
should
red.
just archive.
Yeah.
or
You
something.
mark all as red,
Yeah.
so you don't have to think about it.
That's I'm at that, like, being out for 2 weeks and not looking at email regularly.
Right.
It's a disaster.
Not to get off on a tangent, but I've been thinking about finally archiving in all my Gmail inboxes.
Uh-huh.
Do you guys even bother trying to delete stuff like spam, or do you just let it go sit in some
mark
other
as spam.
folder?
I report spam.
Okay.
Mark as spam.
Or
which
let's say
automatically deletes.
let's say not spam, but like say
Ham.
press. Oh, ham. Like say press releases for stuff
Yeah.
that are
Junk mail that's
technically
not
kind of
spam.
relevant to your job, but like you don't need it.
Yeah.
Do you go through? Do you sit there and go
Archive.
through and
Archive.
delete everything, or just
Archive
like,
everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Universal archive.
Yeah.
I do. That's pretty much it.
I need to get online and read some kind of like best practices for how to efficiently archive email.
I set up a filter the other day for anything that has the word unsubscribe in it. That
Okay.
was the best idea I've
That's-
ever
I should
had.
Really do that.
Yeah, because it turns out most of the shit that I get that I don't need to look at has
Yeah.
unsubscribe written in there.
Wow. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
So I've had the same work Gmail, like Google Apps, basically Gmail
Yeah.
inbox for almost 5 years. It's got close to 60,000 messages in it.
That seems right.
Just all in the inbox, like no folders, no nothing.
Tags.
You could probably get someone to help you with that.
I really need to.
You need a Google Assistant.
Oh, we need to address that. Okay.
Command A,
Yeah.
mark all as red,
Okay.
archive.
That's it.
Inbox
But
0.
Where
right
does
there.
it? Where does it go?
Goes in the all mail view. So remember, Gmail
I
isn't
don't see
folders.
how that's really any better.
Gmail is in
Gmail
a
has
series of folders.
Both folders and
They don't call labels is what they call them.
labels,
Right.
which you can have.
You can put
stuff.
one message in multiple folders essentially.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's just like a tag rather than a folder.
Okay.
The other thing, the reason. Okay, so if you do that, then you want to make sure you install the Gmail app, because if you don't have the Gmail app on, it's really hard to search inside that all mail view
On my phone.
on your phone.
Okay.
The
'cause
Mail.app has a hard time with that for whatever
that's,
reason.
That's what I use on. Oh, you're talking about on the phone.
Yeah, so
'Cause
there's
I also use Mail on OS 10.
Yeah, Mail on iOS 10 is not going to work right with that.
All right.
Okay,
Text
anyway,
for
you
Brad.
can move on.
Yes.
What else have you been testing?
All right.
Brad,
iPhone-
five
Bradley Shoemaker.
iPhone. It turns out is pretty great. I also got an iPad.
Wow, you went whole
I got
hog.
fully Apple the 4. Like the,
You
go
got
with
the
the
big boy?
yeah.
Ah,
I can't not Retina.
that's
I got
the right answer.
I got my girlfriend a Mini for Christmas and she loves it, but
Yeah.
she doesn't care so much about pixel density and
Yeah,
stuff.
she just cares about not having tennis elbow.
But every time I look at it, I'm like,
Yeah, it's so
you know,
small.
I can't go back. So
Here's the thing: when they release the Retina Mini,
Yeah.
you'll be able to sell the iPad you got,
Oh, for sure.
and cover the cost of the Retina
yeah,
Mini.
absolutely. So yeah, that stuff's great. Verizon signal coverage has been great. Verizon customer service is a fucking atrocity.
That seems right.
Is like I literally have had 3 separate really awful experiences with their customer service
Phone number or in
in
person?
2 months.
and your data usage, you're
face to face. Like
you're well managed.
I had a billing discrepancy with them, and they lied about it to my face and blamed it on Apple.
Okay.
And I went and talked to Apple, and I knew it was not their fault because it was on my Verizon bill, and
Yeah.
they were like, "Yeah, they're full of shit, but we will fix it for you."
Yeah.
Wow.
So the Apple Store
The
people,
answer is always go to Apple.
the Apple Store people escalated the issue to their Verizon rep, who fixed it for me because people in the Verizon store would not.
Chuds.
Like it was.
Sorry,
I
Verizon store.
could
I know
not
we have
believe this
people-
was happening.
So I mean, but like anything else, there's good people and bad people.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Verizon people are too busy making telepresence robots for kids who are sick at
Yeah,
home, and
okay.
also augmented reality glasses for firefighters.
The secret. Hold on. This is that a Super Bowl ad that I missed?
Probably.
A bunch of ads.
The secret of any phone tech support stuff is that there's a difference between actual Verizon and AT&T stores and Verizon and AT&T authorized resellers. So if you go to the authorized resellers,
Yeah.
you're gonna be told to pound sand because they can't really do anything.
Okay. Well, this was an official store.
Okay, well then
And I
you
was-
should
and
file
also-
a complaint with the
Also,
home office.
multiple cases. Like I also went in and set up our CBS discount.
Yeah.
And was told that the discount would be one thing, and then when it went into effect, it was much lower. Just thing after
Sorry.
when
am sorry.
I traded up to the 64 gig phone, I couldn't because their system had like it's a long story about like kind of upgrade eligibility, but I got dinged on that, and Apple had to fix that too on their end. Like
How did you? Were you not upgrade eligible? That's crazy.
Well, it was because I had bought this 32 gig and started a new contract. But then even though I was within my hardware window exchange window, like it got fouled up on their end, and they just wouldn't address it.
It was the kind of thing that they try to fuck you on because they think you probably won't look at the bill.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I had a really bad customer experience with Ford over the holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the age you think is appropriate for a car to develop rust?
15 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty long time.
What would you say if I said I had a 2008 Ford Escape that had developed rust in 2013?
That's pushing it.
Yeah.
That's really pushing it.
Yeah, especially since it's undercover most of the time.
Okay.
Yeah. And waxed all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were not having it.
Fuck no.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Wow.
They didn't even tell me they were sorry.
Did you ever? What was the resolution?
I paid a lot of money to have the car fixed, and then I'm never buying another Ford again.
Wow.
Easy enough. Problem solved.
I hope the savings on the repair was worth it to them.
25 years of customership.
Losing a customer for life.
Eat a dick, Ford. I apologize for my language today. I didn't
fine.
sleep very much last night, and I'm really on fire. So, okay, iPad. You like it? Good.
It's fantastic.
What do you get? What do
It's
you
great.
games and web? Twitter.
Yeah, real light stuff. You know,
Hand use?
the whole thing about it being like a content consumption device is totally true. You know, I'm not doing any heavy lifting with it.
Okay.
I still don't really love typing on it,
Okay.
or I haven't gotten good at it.
That gets better. Like I found like I went on a plane trip where I took that was all I took. I went on like a vacation and I took that, and that made a big difference.
And you made it.
Yeah, I was fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think it seems that I'm in the
Kidding
minority.
me? Oh no, you're not watching that episode yet. People blog on their phones.
Okay, we'll get there. I'm
are
getting
you
there.
talking about the new show?
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
pretty good. I think I seem to be in a distinct minority of people who primarily use the iPad landscape mode.
I almost always
Oh.
portrait.
Really,
Always
Landscapes
I
for
am,
dirties.
I am like 98% landscape.
I use the mini much more often landscape
with
than I
that
did the
thing.
full size.
So the one of the biggest reasons for that is that I've got a smart cover, and you know the little stand it makes.
Yes.
I've found that it's really easy to balance it on your lap by making that stand and then just sort of kind of hooking your hands behind it and just kind of letting it lean back against your hands
Yeah.
so you don't because the full size iPad is not
It's not a light thing.
it's not 100 pounds, but there is some significant weight.
I
to
have
it.
long held that it is too heavy.
Well, that's the thing. That's kind of why I've kind of made this.
It's a
compromise.
table.
Yeah.
I mean, I use it on the couch more than
I don't have a table in front of my couch.
So I find having that stand out makes it a lot easier to use in the lap.
So I use my phone on my couch.
Which is why I'm then typing with my thumbs with the split keyboard.
Oh, you
Whoa.
just split.
It's
Wow.
Pretty clumsy.
Crazy.
What do you guys do?
I one hand cord.
Oh, interesting.
Or I put
I-
it on my lap and then two hands.
I look at what Mr. Data does, and then I do that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Anyway,
Although with
it's
the mini,
also-
I thumb type just like a phone.
Yeah.
Like a big giant Samsung Note of a phone.
Sure. Also a very nice device. Nice ecosystem. Everything pretty much works like you expect it to.
Yeah. And the apps are
It's
the
pleasant.
games. What's your favorite game so far? What you've gone through? I assume you've gone through some back catalog.
Letterpress is great. I played Kingdom Rush to death.
you play Super Brothers?
I haven't on the iPad. I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm waiting like that. I'm going to play that.
Kingdom Rush, is that the one with the little dwarf guys that run across
Well,
the
it's tower defense. It's like the best tower defense game. It's way better than Field Runners and stuff like that.
Field Runners 2 was garbage, but
I hate Field Runners.
Are you
too.
testing anything that's not iOS related?
Yeah, definitely. If we're ready to move on.
Because Brad, you got to go soon.
Oh yeah. Oh wow, it got late, huh? Well, we'll stretch it a little bit, but yeah, let's move on. If you
I want to hear about these smart TVs.
unless you have any burning iOS questions.
No,
for me.
we've talked so much about iOS.
Fair enough.
you need to play that. What was that geometry? What was the line-based tower defense from like 3 years ago?
Oh,
Geo Defense.
People have told me about it.
Yeah.
It's really good.
And I immediately have gotten real snooty about it doesn't have Game Center, it doesn't support iPhone 5,
God.
forget it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, if it doesn't support iPhone 5, I probably wouldn't play it. We can play it on our There's an iPad version.
Okay, maybe I'll look into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was real bummed that like I wanted to get into Hero Academy because I still know people who play that, but
Yeah,
it doesn't have iPhone 5 support or Retina on the iPad.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, here's a tip.
Get snooty about it.
Go get Puzzlecraft.
Okay.
Imagine if Zynga made a game that didn't have a bunch of terrible mechanics.
Okay.
And was attached to like a Connect 3 kind of, or like a draw a line through a bunch of stuff puzzler.
All right.
It's real good.
Okay. I'll check that out. All right.
Other stuff you're testing.
Really want to hear about smart TVs?
I want to hear about your TV.
I
wanna
got a plasma TV months ago.
Yes.
September.
Yes.
but-
but it was a dumb TV, right?
No, it's a
Does it have apps?
You are
by
using
default. That's the thing. I didn't go out of my way to get a smart TV. It just happened to be one.
If you
'cause
bought
they-
a TV in 2012 and it
that's the
was
thing.
new,
That's the thing. They all are.
likely yourself.
Okay.
Smart
So
TV.
I heard. I only bring that up because you railed against smart TVs.
I think smart TVs are dumb
back around CES.
for anything but children.
As a selling point,
They're
I
for
agree
kids.
with you. Like if you're going out of your way to find the smartest TV,
Yeah.
then just knock it off. You're dumb.
Yeah.
But
If you care,
I bought the TV for its image quality and its like
Sure.
price to performance
Yes.
ratio. Did not care about that stuff at all. The only reason I like it is that like now I can watch Netflix without firing up a game console. You know,
You don't have an Apple TV.
no.
okay. Or a
which,
Roku.
which will bring me to my next test.
Yeah, this is the thing I want to talk about.
But yeah, like I mean, the Netflix app on it's a Panasonic Plasma.
It's the old Roku app, right? The
I've
horizontal
never used a
white bar on the top.
It's the current PS3 interface is what this has.
Oh, okay.
Which is
That's much
the best,
better
the
than
best
my-
Netflix interface I know of at the moment.
My smart TV does not have that. It has.
Yours is
I
like
like
2 or
the
3 years
Windows
older.
Windows 8 one.
I haven't seen that.
I
one.
haven't seen that.
All I really know are the PS3 and the 360 ones. The 360 is terrible. Like it's unusable.
Well, they made it worse.
Ugh, no
Okay.
thanks.
Anyway,
So it's nice to be able to hit the internet button on my TV remote and watch Netflix. That's my half-hearted support of
all
smart
right,
TVs.
all right.
If all you have is consoles, I can get
'Cause
behind
it takes a good couple minutes to get into the PS3 or 360 and start the Netflix app.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, an Apple TV, when you have a house with a couple iPads and some iPhones, is
Yeah.
a force multiplier for your tablet and phone
sure.
devices.
My parents have one, an Apple TV 3,
Yes.
I guess, 3rd gen.
The 1080p
the newest
one?
one? Yeah,
Yeah.
1080p. I used it when I was at home. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
But I bought the TV that has a great screen but is the low-end model because I didn't need like THX and stuff. And unfortunately, it only had 3 HDMI.
Okay.
And 2 of them are already used for consoles.
Receiver.
And
Well, you're not that point.
I have a stereo receiver because it
Yeah.
works because I only have 2 speakers. And
You
I
can
don't
get a remote-controlled HDMI receiver for $30
So,
from Monoprice.
Ryan actually pointed me at a thing from Monoprice that's actually just basically an HDMI splitter.
Yes,
it's
that's
just
what I'm talking about.
HDMI male, but this isn't even remote. Like you wouldn't even need a remote. It's auto sensing, so it just uses whichever one is powered on.
That is great until you have devices that are
Always on.
powered on most recent. Yeah,
So, like,
it
if
doesn't
you
work
have-
when you have always on stuff like the Apple TV.
Yeah, but sure, but I don't really have a need for an Apple TV anyway.
Fair enough.
So should we move on to my last?
Let's. I want to
Yes.
talk about the last thing.
and
'cause this is
favorite
fun.
thing that I've been
Yes.
testing.
Yes.
Is that I bought a Raspberry Pi.
Okay.
And
I love Raspberry Pi.
the only real use
had
I
one.
had for an Apple TV is AirPlay audio. Like I don't really care about AirPlay mirroring because
Oh, it's AirPlay Mirror. When you're sitting there and you're like, "Hey, have you seen this cat video on YouTube?"
YouTube DJ.
Yeah.
I workshopped that shit this weekend.
How'd that go?
The best thing we.
Hold on. Let's save this for your section of what we're testing.
Goodness.
so. Well, I used AirPlay mirroring at my parents' house, and it was a little spotty. Like
Okay.
the videos really have to buffer if your
They have
wi-
shitty
if your-
Wi-Fi
If your
probably.
Wi-Fi is not great, they have an old G router.
Yeah, you need
it's that
that.
old Buffalo. I have in my apartment, but there are like 30 other overlapping hotspots,
Yeah.
which has been this whole other odyssey of trying out custom firmwares
Just
and
channels.
and
work the
scanning
channels.
for channel. I have, but I mean, there's nothing you can do when there are
enough.
that many.
If you set your router to a non-American region,
I thought
you
about
can
doing
open
that.
up
I
some
thought
channels
about-
that
I
are
thought-
not
I
available.
thought about unlocking the mythical Australian channel 13.
Channel 13.
But the thing
for
I was
kids.
the thing I was advised about is that only the standard channels 1, 6, and 11 routers are only
Yes.
set up to do like.
I thought it was 3, 6, and 11.
No, it's 1, 6, and 11.
Okay.
But the routers only do interference correction on those channels.
Yeah.
Because previously I was like, nobody's on 8, I'll get on that one.
Yeah,
but
but-
then that actually makes it worse.
Yeah.
Counterintuitively. So I don't know if that's an issue with the international channels or not.
That has to do with overlap. It actually is not interference. But
Point
yeah.
is though that I have an in router in my apartment and it's still, my Wi-Fi is still bad because there's just
Have
so
you
much.
have you aimed the antennas around?
So
Does it
much
have
inter-
3 antennas on it, or
It's
does it have-
it's an RT N16, the Asus,
Oh, the
like
Asus
kind of the
one.
workhorse.
Yeah, make the antennas put them all on different axes.
Really?
So like,
oh, they're all pointing
make
straight
them-
up for me
Don't
right
do
now.
that. Make them like this.
Like a
So
at
like an
90
XYZ
degrees.
thing. Yeah.
Like one at.
One on the x-axis, one on the z-axis, and one on the y-axis.
Oh, really?
Yes,
And that'll help.
that will help.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try that. It's also at one end of my apartment, but I mean, in range is pretty good, right?
It's better to put in the center of your apartment, but
I
whatever.
can't for where my cable jack is.
I understand that you have problems with that.
Don't really have an option. Anyway,
So the Raspberry Pi. What are you doing with the
so-
Raspberry Pi? We're just running Linux,
well, that's what it runs.
getting your
That's what it runs.
KG
model do you have?
on.
It's the B model. It's the
More RAM?
512 meg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole reason I got it was that I found out that Xbox Media Center has AirPlay audio streaming.
Do we
support.
need to explain what Raspberry? We should.
don't think we
Raspberry
Have
Pi
you never
is.
talked about it before?
We have, but it's been a long time.
It's
so
it's a $35 ARM-based computer on a circuit board.
that's exactly it.
It uses a Broadcom system on a
Everything
chip.
you need: Wi-Fi,
It's neat.
USB.
Oh, it doesn't have Wi-Fi.
Oh, right, it's
It's
Ethernet.
Ethernet. So it's got so it's like a 700 megahertz Broadcom system on a chip.
Yeah.
It does 1080p video out like H.264.
Okay.
It's got 2 USB, 1 Ethernet, power.
And the power is like a power brick, right?
No, it actually came with nothing. It was literally just the circuit board.
Oh, so you
it
have
doesn't
to
even
buy
have a
the power
housing, by the way. If
The one I bought came with a power brick.
mine,
That's the one from Maker Faire.
Yeah, it was more expensive.
mine
though.
was literally the $35
Yeah.
nothing but the board.
The one from Maker Faire comes from a housing, some other stuff, and costs like $100.
Yeah, so that it was actually I had to wait a couple weeks to get this.
Yeah.
because all the places were perfectly happy to sell me their Raspberry Pi starter kit for $120.
Yeah.
nobody had the $35 bare thing
Yeah.
in stock, which is
Only
all I
Raspberry
needed.
Pi Foundation.
Well, no, I got it eventually. They just I had to wait for a new shipment to come in, but
So you put Ubuntu, the special version of Ubuntu on it?
no, it's Debian is the.
Oh, okay.
Well, is there an Ubuntu for this thing?
I thought there was an Ubuntu
The,
for
the
it, but maybe it's
recommended
Beagle board.
the recommended distro is a modified version of Debian.
Okay.
Called Raspbian. Which
Perfect.
the Raspberry Pi people endorse it. It's
And do you install it on like a USB thumb drive or something?
adapted version of Debian Wheezy, I guess is the release. But
Okay.
OSD card is the other thing that this
Oh,
thing
right.
has. So because you can run an OS off of USB, but it has to have an SD card in the slot. It doesn't have a BIOS.
Okay.
So it won't do anything. It won't even output video if you don't have an SD card.
So how do you put that stuff on the SD card from a PC or Mac
so
or something?
yeah, so you get the distro from them on a computer, and you have to hard write it. I don't know what the technical
But you
term
make
is.
it-
but you have to
make
use,
it bootable,
You have to
probably,
well, no,
right?
you have to use DD
Oh, wow.
from a command line, or there's an equivalent program on Windows that'll write in that manner.
Right.
But you basically have to DD it from your command prompt in OS 10 or Linux.
It's a block level, right?
Yes, yeah. It's just a disk image. And you put that in, and then it just boots up to a command prompt, and you go from there.
Okay, and then you can use apt-get and whatever to get
Yes.
to install the packages
Exactly.
you want.
And
And it runs X and all that? Or runs a GUI?
it does have a built-in X1Os,
Oh, wow.
and I think the window manager looks like it's based on KDE, but I might be wrong. But I didn't use it.
But you're going to go straight to XBMC, right?
Well, so no, that the XBMC or RaspBMC,
Sorry.
as it's called, for the Pi is not something that runs. I mean, I guess it probably runs Linux kernel, but it's actually its own disk image that you have to write to an SD card in a similar manner.
Oh, okay.
And you never see a command prompt if you go that route.
So it's a separate...
boots
It is
straight
a
to that.
full install. It is made to be as easy.
It is
as
an
possible.
OS,
That's awesome.
basically.
It is its own OS.
That's cool.
So, and the whole thing that got me started was loving using the audio streaming at my parents' house on the Apple TV. But like, A, I don't have the inputs on my TV for an Apple TV. B, I have no need for the other features.
Yeah.
Because I already have consoles. And then I found out that XBMC would do AirPlay stuff, and I was like, oh, this thing's super cheap.
So
And
does it do video AirPlay too? Or I mean, I'm sure.
No, nobody has figured out AirPlay
Yeah,
mirroring.
because my Boxy will do audio AirPlay, but not
Okay.
video.
So yeah, so I went back in history and looked at some old news stories and saw when like AirPlay was essentially cracked. Like,
Yeah.
it uses I don't know if cracked is the right word.
they they were supposed to post the spec for the audio AirPlay streaming.
Well, it's out there because they use a standardized.
it's a
protocol.
UPnP based thing, right?
Yeah, the actual audio streaming has a different name. It's an acronym that starts with
And that's
R.
what people sell
Yeah.
your AirPlay receiver apps.
But
But
Apple,
no, those they license from Apple. Like
Apple,
All the
like
apps and the desktop stuff too.
no, I'm talking about the boxes, like
No,
that
yeah,
Audigy dock,
yeah,
the Odyssey
all the
dock,
docks
and
they
all that
license.
stuff is licensed.
But like the software you buy is to turn your computer
Yeah.
into a
right.
receiver.
So I went back and looked at. I got all the way down to sort of like the README when all this stuff happened originally, and it was one guy who was like moving and had an extra Apple TV, and something happened with it, and he was just like, "Screw it, I'm gonna take it apart and futz around with it." So he literally disassembled it and dumped the ROM, and basically hacked apart the AirPlay stuff and got it working for everybody. Anyway, the XBMC implementation, for whatever reason, was really bad. The streaming, like I would start a song on the iPad or the iPhone, and it would take like 10 seconds of buffering before it would start playing. And that similar lag on like if I tried to pause it, it would take another 10
Yeah.
seconds to kick in. Skips between songs, just really bad stuff.
Doesn't sound like it just works.
No, that absolutely did not. So I got rid of that. But it turns out another group of people have made a much lighter thing. It's called SharePlay.
Just for AirPlay?
Yeah, it's just AirPlay audio, and it's
And
basically
is it for Linux?
it's
or
for
is it-
any Linux. It's basically a bunch of Perl scripts and stuff. You compile it. You do
Yeah.
the standard kind of make and then make install stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'm not a huge Linux guy, so I had to get a tutorial. But like, there's an easy way to install it as a service, so it just runs. You don't even need to log in
Yeah.
to an account. It's
You
just
power
as soon
up
as it
and you're
boots.
good.
Yeah.
So you're gonna boot to that instead.
It's
of
all set up.
XBMC.
It's done. Like, so SharePlay turned out to be much more reliable in terms of like playing audio quickly, skipping songs works. Like, it doesn't mess up as much. It was a lot harder to get working because XBMC, like the audio, everything works out of the box. With this distribution of the newest Raspbian for the Pi, they had installed some extra audio package that breaks overall audio support, and it took like 3 days of digging around forums for me to figure that out, and then I had to do the reverse apt-get process to kill
Yeah.
that package, and then audio. So it's a bunch of getting
It's Linux.
anything working on Linux,
Linux-
is such a pain in the ass.
Well,
But I got it.
hold on.
Yes.
If you know how to use Linux really well, it's a piece of cake.
Oh,
We
sure.
get it. We know that.
Sure.
But if you're not a day-to-day Linux user,
Yes.
it's a nightmare.
Like, if I had been using Linux for years, I'm sure this would have all been second nature.
But-
But for somebody who doesn't do this stuff every day, it's horrible.
I used Linux 4 years.
Yeah.
Literally, like 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And being away from it for 5 years means all that information is maybe not gone. Like, I still know how to
Right.
pipe stuff in, run
Right.
grep and all that. But like from a running with Linux on a machine standpoint in a 3 generations of video cards later
Right.
and 3 all this, it's really
It's
challenging.
rough.
Yeah.
It's really tough. I mean, I installed Slackware at one point in my life, like
Yeah.
12 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, I've messed with this stuff before, but getting back into it after years on a Mac,
Yeah.
Like, you touch the command prompt once in a while on a Mac, but you don't do heavy lifting with the Unixy components of that
Yes.
stuff. So it was a whole lot of, but you're right, it was kind of fun once I was like, all right, I got to get rid of this package, I got to do this, and this. I have
That's
to configure this other. Like, it all finally worked.
remember when I
It
used
was-
to have fun.
and it was very gratifying. It was very frustrating in the process, but very gratifying once I had finished it. So yeah, it works. Although, so the analog audio out of the Pi is garbage. Garbage.
So what are you going to do? Get a USB
Because so
drive?
it has HDMI out, so if you're going out to HDMI, it's
Right.
perfectly fine. Nice.
That doesn't help you. 'cause-
Digital audio, it's
Yeah.
nice. And it was really weird, like running this tiny command prompt on my 55-inch plasma when I was going over HDMI with this thing. The reason the analog audio is so bad on that thing is that it does not have a DAC on the board.
Yeah.
It's called
Like a software DAC or something?
PWM.
Oh,
I think.
really?
It's essentially a way to like approximate
wave modulator?
I think that's it. It's like
Yeah.
a way to approximate a DAC, but in a circuit
Yeah.
or whatever. Really bad.
So it's probably real gnarly.
Really
sounding,
bad audio
poppy
quality.
and clicky and stuff.
So it would pop really loud when the audio stream would start.
Yeah.
The sound I had like no depth or range to it at all.
That's not good.
But it turned out Lifehacker actually, coincidentally, like as the week that I got this thing, they were doing their Raspberry Pi week,
Okay.
and they posted a tutorial for the exact thing I was doing, but with the bonus edition that wasn't in all the other stuff I'd been looking at of saying, the audio sucks out of this thing. You should get a $5 USB sound card,
Okay.
Yeah.
which is like literally $5 on Amazon.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
name, just a headphone jack and a mic
It's
jack.
just a USB audio codec on a
It's
USB
it's
plug.
just like a DAC in a little USB
Yeah.
stick with
Yeah.
a headphone.
Those
out.
are so useful.
And I got it for $5 and plugged it in, like just night and
Huge
day,
difference.
like fantastic audio quality.
So what's your enclosure and what's your
Nothing.
power supply like?
No-
You're just dangling off the
no
back of
enclosure.
of the receiver?
Yeah, I basically coiled up the I coiled up the Ethernet cord that's going into the switch behind my TV
Around
and
it?
the RCA plug that's going into the receiver in such a
Okay.
way that it just hangs right behind the
Brad,
receiver.
if you send me go to Thingiverse and
Yeah.
find a Raspberry Pi box
don't
that you
need
want
it.
me to print, I will print you a box.
Really?
Yes.
Why would I need it?
Because
Dust.
yeah, just okay. It's a little hoopty.
I don't know. Nobody can see it. I can't see it.
Doesn't it bother you that knowing it's back there?
Oh, I think it's
naked?
awesome. There's a
by itself?
raw ass circuit board hanging behind my TV making the music go.
Okay, fair enough.
But the one reason I would like to get a case on it is that the LEDs on that thing are super bright, and there's like 5 of them.
Oh.
So I can kind of see like a little like
Green.
orangish green glow
Yeah.
behind my TV from it.
What's your total cost on the whole thing?
$40.
Nice.
Well,
the power supply was $5.
Plus shipping.
Okay, so $45, $50.
Actually, I had it's just micro USB that powers it.
Yeah.
So I needed a surge protector anyway that had some USB ports, so I got one of those.
Okay.
And I just had, everybody has micro USB cables lying
Yeah.
around.
Or you had, worst case, you have an old iPhone dongle or something that you plug in.
You can make stuff like that
Yeah.
work. So just plugged it in there. It's 35 for the thing and 5 for the USB sound card, which is a must if you're not going over HDMI
Yeah.
to make it sound good. And then obviously my time was kind of.
But it's
There was a time cost.
educational.
But I definitely learned some stuff getting it set up, and it works like a dream now. And like you said, since I'm running SharePlay as a service, like if the power ever goes out, if anything happens to this thing,
5 minutes later it's back up.
when the power comes, like 30 seconds, like it just has to boot to the login prompt and it's going.
So if I wanted to use this to stream like rip DVDs and stuff like that across the network,
You could totally do that with XBMC.
do you feel like that XBMC release is ready for that kind of use, or did you not use
I
it enough
didn't
to
try. I
say?
didn't touch video. I used
Okay.
it long enough to find out that the AirPlay was bad.
Okay.
I've heard from a lot of people who've tried to do like heavy video with it that the interface gets laggy and that it's not the ideal solution.
I mean, even the Boxy, which is like an Atom, a real x86 CPU, gets a little chunky
Yeah,
sometimes.
this is not a fast device at
Okay.
all. And they say that out of the box.
Yeah.
Like there's like this thing will not do a lot of heavy lifting, but
I mean, I think the original goal for it was to give you a cheap controller to run Arduino boards and
there's
stuff like
there's
that.
that. I mean, I think their most kind of noble goal with it is it's meant for like kids who want to learn how to program in
Yeah.
kind of developing countries and stuff. I mean, it is a functional computer. You just need like a keyboard and a mouse
And a $5
and
power brick.
and
Yeah.
a TV. Like it'll do composite video out, for God's sake.
That's crazy.
But also for tons of little applications like this. Like when I was kind of geeking out over it on Twitter, and a lot of people were chiming in saying like, yeah, I use one of those at work for a print server, or like I'm running a VPN server at home on one. Like one guy said that he had a dozen of them. I think he was in IT or something.
Okay.
He had gotten like a dozen of them each to do a separate task in his office, just running little IT stuff.
I've been thinking about getting one to run the MakerBot.
Yeah.
Because you can. There's a script that the GitHub guys made that you can pipe an STL model into it, and it'll just
Yeah, it's
poop it out.
for stuff that isn't like compute intensive. It's,
Yeah.
it's super cool. It's
Yeah.
a really neat little thing. And now that it's inaccessible behind my TV, and I can't, there's no display hooked up to it, but
Yeah.
I can just SSH into it and do stuff that needs to be done on it without ever touching it.
like update software and stuff like that.
Anything like that. But I doubt I'll ever touch it again because it's just humming along now.
Yeah.
It was a really fun project to do.
Cool.
Like it wasn't so much about I wasn't excited about saving $60 off an Apple TV. It was that I didn't have room or need for an Apple TV.
You could do really evil things to your girlfriend in the house if you set up your router to pipe through to that. You can send audio through to her whenever you want from anywhere.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Probably.
Huh.
You probably wouldn't use AirPlay for that. You'd probably have to use something else.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, it's hooked up to the stereo.
Yeah, but the receiver has to be on a different input. So.
Well, then you get an IR blaster.
Do you have
And-
pets?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's the reason I'm doing. Well, we have our
Brad?
Raspberry Pi as well, and we will be doing more. Of it.
you should.
I'm roboting. I'm using it for robots.
They're really neat.
Robotic.
I
Deadly
highly recommend
robots.
messing around with it.
Anything else that you've been testing, Brad,
that's
in the
pretty much.
bank of Brad, what we've been testing?
Pretty much. I bought all the way into 1Password over the weekend because they had a sale on.
Thank you for you. I didn't have room in my tweet to credit that to you,
it's
but
fine.
thank you for
well,
the
I
heads
got
up
it.
on that.
I got it from somebody anyway.
A lot of
I
people
was just passing it along.
I've never seen them do good deals before, and half
Yeah.
off on that 5-pack is a smoking deal.
It's been pretty pricey.
It's
in
usually
general.
like $100 for a 5-pack.
So yeah, I got the 5-pack of Mac and Windows
Yeah.
for $40.
Yeah.
Oh, 30?
It was 39, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
It was 39 or 25, and for 14 bucks extra, it makes a lot of sense.
There was an extra 20% off code floating around, and their iOS app was also half off. So I just bought a 5-user license and the app.
Yeah.
Total like $50 for all that.
So the trick on that, at least for me, was that the first couple of days were constant annoyance. So the reason you do this is so that you can use secure passwords that are distinct for each site. When I open my 1Password app, then I literally have like 1,000 logins in there. And if you're on a PC with a browser, then it'll autofill. You put the extension in for the browser you're using, and it autofills the passwords when you log into something.
And those extensions share on Chrome. They
Yeah.
sync over.
Yeah.
Chrome, Safari, Firefox,
Yeah, you
IE.
just put your like lock file or master file in your Dropbox, and you're good on everything. Right?
Yeah, and then the benefit of doing this is that if, say, one of the sites that you subscribe to, that you have a login gets hacked, or they lose the password file, and they weren't saving that password securely, you aren't using that password on 35 other sites,
using it anywhere.
which you shouldn't do ever. Right? That's bad. So yeah, it's really good. The first week or so was really rough.
Yeah.
Only place where it fails is StarCraft.
Yeah.
Well,
Why is that? Because the authenticator.
Yeah.
Well,
Authenticator, it doesn't. It's not going to sync with StarCraft.
Any
God.
Origin,
Yeah.
but you can always open the app and copy and paste.
Yeah, sure.
or
I think
open
I
your
have to-
phone.
I think I have to call Blizzard about my authenticator. I tried to. I mean, I had all the info saved, but I just moved it over from the Windows Phone to the iPhone, and like it wouldn't. It doesn't work.
You didn't have the recovery key.
I've got all that,
Okay.
but I tried doing all the recovery stuff, and it wasn't. It still wouldn't
Gotcha.
sync. Whatever tangent. But yeah, I just installed the OS 10 app yesterday and created the file and
Yeah.
stuff. I think I've got like 4 logins in there now. I mean, should I just go to every site that I need in there and log out and back in?
I just do it as I go. Like I found like, so the first phase was getting the existing bad passwords into the app.
Yeah.
And then the other part of it was over time, when I saw which sites I was using more frequently, I just started changing those passwords.
Okay. I have. So I did go to like my bank account, my credit cards, like financial stuff,
Yeah.
or like say Twitter, anything you really don't want somebody getting into.
Yeah, mail.
I've gone and generated just random alphanumeric passwords for those.
The other thing I would say is if you're doing this and you haven't turned on two-factor auth for your email,
yeah, I've got that.
Then this is a good time to do that as
I've
well.
got that is two-factor auth on Gmail seems much like 1Password in that it seems like occasionally a minor inconvenience, but the peace of mind that you get for it
The first week was really rough,
seems really
especially if you have a
worthwhile.
bunch of devices.
Yeah.
The other thing is the iOS app has a separate. The way the iOS app works isn't immediately clear. You create a file, at least the old one. The new one may be better. You create a file on the phone that's locked with a password that's unique for that phone, and then you tell it how to log into your Dropbox and what the password is for the Dropbox file, and it syncs all that information over to the phone. So it doesn't work directly off of Dropbox. There's a
Oh, it
syncing
doesn't?
process.
Oh, I didn't realize
At least the old one. I haven't used the new one enough to.
I did it
to
yesterday, and
suss this out.
the second that I launched it, all it said was, "Are you an existing?"
So they may have fixed that.
It said, "Are you an existing 1Password user?" I said, "Yes." It said, "We want to connect your Dropbox up. Is that okay?" Yes, and it bounces you over to the Dropbox app, and
Oh, that's good.
pops up a Twitter style like, "This app wants to access your Dropbox for this reason," and you just hit allow, and then it just worked.
That's perfect.
So that it seems totally seamless.
A couple of big things to be careful of. Make sure you have your Dropbox password someplace safe, like
Yes.
it's not in 1Password.
Yes.
Because
So
for
I-
obvious reasons.
So basically, the only passwords you have to memorize are Dropbox and 1Password. Right?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, and also keep the backup keys for your two-factor auth on Google in case you lose your phone or something.
Yeah.
Norman Chan, what have you been testing?
I got the Nexus 4, using that. My micro SIM will not automatically work because the way AT&T sucks, and so my data,
Do you have to
my
go to the AT&T
SIM
store?
will work in. No, because then if I do that, then I'll lose my iPhone data plan.
Oh,
So the data plan is not transferable. The phone plan
you
is
have
totally transferable.
Can you call 611 and make that happen or no?
Maybe I have a backup plan.
I've done that
I
before.
I have a separate plan. I have a separate SIM card I'm going to use for that for
Okay.
data and HSBA Plus just for this test.
Okay.
But Nexus 4 is great. And
What do you? I saw you tweet the other day that you really love Android.
I love AirDroid. AirDroid is an app for Android.
What's AirDroid?
AirDroid is an app that lets you on Android, when you're running it and you're on your Wi-Fi network, then on any PC, you can go to a browser and open it up and load up a certain web page, and then
You can like remote control
confirm
your
and
Android phone.
and you can file, drag and drop within the browser.
Ooh.
You can do all sorts of stuff.
Wow, that's way better than getting files on and off of an iPhone,
Yes, photos, everything.
which is impossible, basically.
That's kind of been the one adjustment for me, is just like having everything super locked down. You know, once in a while you run into something that you're like, I should be able to do
Like
that.
there are still, they've done a pretty good job in iOS 5 and iOS 6 getting rid of those things that you think, why do you still have to do this?
Right.
But there's still like getting ringtones onto an iPhone.
Yeah, stuff like
if you
that.
don't sync it involves GarageBand for some reason.
But more to the point, it's stuff like it's where there is basic functionality that's blocked by Apple policy and
Yeah.
not by technical limitations.
Yeah.
Like my TV has an app. You can control the TV. It's really dumb, but you can stream music.
You're smart. It's really smart.
Sure, it thinks it is. But you can stream music from your mobile device to the TV through this app if you have Android, but you cannot on iOS purely because Apple doesn't let you stream to non-Apple devices.
Yeah.
Stuff like that is just that sucks.
Yeah.
It's to protect you, Brad.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
it's
protecting me
saving-
from myself.
saving you.
Obviously, I didn't know what I was doing with that stuff. So I saw that. Sorry, not to derail too much. I
No,
saw
go
that
for
the iOS 6 untethered jailbreak just came out.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to do it. Like, I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. But I looked at it just to see, because it's been years. I was like, what do you do with a jailbreak these days?
And it's all stuff like that. It's like easy getting files on and off the phone easily.
I looked at the list of there's like a Google Doc spreadsheet going around of here's all the the 50 things that are great to do on a jailbroken iPhone. And just looking at this is a snap judgment, but just looking at the list of names of things you would run on there, the impression is, oh, you jailbreak an iPhone to turn it into an Android phone. It just sounds like a bunch of really goofy names of process killers and
Battery management,
real
stuff.
low level stuff that that's kind of why I have an iPhone, is because I don't want to think about stuff like that, So I'm not sure that I understand why you would jailbreak at this point.
iPhone is for the simpletons.
Yeah.
I just don't want to think about it. It's not like I can't handle it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's more that for me, it's more that I want it to work without having to worry.
I'm stealing this from a forum, but I saw somebody, it was in a discussion about this jailbreak, refer to the iPhone as an appliance, which I thought was really apt.
Yeah, it works like my toaster.
It's I just want this thing to come out of my pocket and work like it's supposed to, and then go back in my pocket.
You're saying it's an internet toaster?
Yeah.
That used to be a thing.
Toaster has Wi-Fi.
Metabones, Norm?
We have a video up right now with Adam.
that was fast.
Camera lens stuff, so that's definitely worth checking out.
It's what it is an adapter for the NEX to Canon EF mount
EF mount. EF mount.
that does all sorts of neat stuff.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Worth watching the video.
Yeah. I've been doing. I bought an adapter because when my mom and dad came out, my mom brought my old Nikon lenses, which are old. So there's two F mounts for Nikon. There's the autofocus, auto exposure plus mounts, and then there's the old manual. It's the same mount. You can plug a manual F mount lenses into an autofocus Nikon SLRs and DSLRs for the most part. It's been really fun. I had in the mid 90s, I spent a fair amount of money on Nikon lenses, and then when the autofocus cameras and DSLRs came on, I missed having good lenses, because I immediately realized how shitty the kit lens for that Nex is.
Relative to
a $200, what was a $250 or $400 Nikon lens in 1993, which in fairness is a pretty expensive lens now. The main lens that I've been messing with, that I've been testing out, is the 50 millimeter f 1.8, which is a really fast kind of on an SLR, on a 35 millimeter crop. It's a really fast kind of portrait mid-range lens. On the Nex, because of the crop, it ends up being equivalent of about a 75 millimeter lens, so it's pretty zoomed. What this made me do, though, was go to eBay, and I started buying old Nikon manual lenses, because what I've been doing is setting the dial on the Nex to shutter control, and the apertures on the ring on the lens, and it's basically giving me the exact same experience I had in 1993, but with a badass digital camera. And I've been having a whole lot of fun.
Wow.
cheap ass lens.
Yeah.
This is kind of a layman's question.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there any concern about buying secondhand lenses? I mean,
Yes.
a lens is something that could certainly easily be damaged. So, if you see somebody selling a lens, can you assume, as long as they're on the up and up, you can assume that it's a pristine lens?
You look for fungus. There's fungus that grows on the
Really?
coatings of the lenses.
I just assume scratches, but who knows
Scratches
what
are
else.
bad. If they've been dropped, you can usually tell from scuffing
Okay.
on the outside.
That wouldn't affect the photo.
It could,
really.
because if a
Something
50 millimeter
misaligned or something.
a 28 millimeter lens can have 8 or 9 elements inside, depending on the lens. You also want to look at the aperture at the what's it called? The thing that opens and closes the iris on the aperture, because those blades will wear out over time.
So there is some concern if you're buying a used lens about
Yeah, but
it.
I mean, they're kind of so cheap that it doesn't matter. Because I bought a
I mean, lenses are also rated for a certain number of shutters and,
Oh, really?
and stuff. So, but it's many.
Yes.
yeah. I mean,
It's a deep rabbit hole.
Yeah.
yeah. I got a 24 millimeter, 28 millimeter f 2.8 for $40.
Oh, okay.
So
That's not bad.
I'll take my chances on that.
Sure.
And just to the other way I was going to go on this was looking at the Sony lenses and the Zeiss lenses for these NEX cameras, and I'm getting much more lens for a fraction of the money in exchange for no metering and no autofocus, which I'm actually totally fine with. So yeah, it's really fun. If you have The cheaper way to get these lenses probably is to go to garage sales and flea markets and stuff because they're super common, and Nikon made literally hundreds of thousands of them. eBay is getting kind of expensive. It seems like people are aware that this is a thing. And the adapter, the photodiox adapter, which is a dumb adapter, has no electronics, no pass through, is just a physical this mount to this mount. Is $14 or $17 or something like that. So like if you have old lenses, you can experiment. There's old lenses for you can get Canon and Olympus and Minolta and Vivitar and all sorts of other old adjustments too. Focusing is hard, but because of the way the NEX peak focusing works with the little dots around the in focus area, that works even with manual lenses. So it's actually quite easy to focus. Even with the big camera. Gina uses it, and she doesn't like photography stuff at all, so it's good. iFi. I've been testing iFis. I've set it up multiple ways. My goal was to get the iFi piping photos into the photo stream so that I can look at them on the iPad immediately following taking the shot if I'm in a Wi-Fi zone. You can totally do that.
Cool.
I save my iFi images in a Dropbox folder, which then goes over to a Mac and is uploaded to Aperture using a Aperture hot folders script that Apple provides. That's what I've been testing.
That's neat.
And then baby, I've wiped a lot of asses.
Testing the baby.
So much baby. You've been working with the 5R, right, Norm?
Yes, I'm not ready to talk about that yet, though.
Why'd you put it on the list?
We need stuff to talk on the list.
Okay.
Brad, thank you.
I hate to talk and run.
Yeah, no, it's been
but
great having you here,
The
Mr.
hour is
Shoemaker.
late. I got to get out.
We will see you at some point in the indeterminate future, we hope.
absolutely. Thank you guys.
Cheers, sir.
Very much appreciate it.
Oh, anytime, dude. And we're going to take a quick break while Brad goes, and then we'll be right back. Hey, we're back. Brad's gone. Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, should we have reframed this shot?
No, it's finished. Finish show.
You
Answer
wanna
your question.
bring it home?
Yes.
Okay. We're not going to talk about House of Cards. We'll wait until Gary's back for that.
House of Cards is so good.
I haven't seen House
Everyone
of Cards.
should watch it.
Because I have a baby.
Well, House of Cards is so good.
I watched an episode of South Park for like a third of it, maybe last night. That's all the TV I've watched in 2 weeks.
Well, what's the statute of limitations in House of Cards?
Baby thing is hard. Spoilers? I have no context, so you can spoil it all you want right now.
6 months.
From right now?
6 months is the statute of limitations.
August 6th. This is when we're going to talk about it.
Is when spoilers for House of Cards
Hey,
can come
Brad
out.
Zuber is arriving now.
What's the driver's name?
Faisal.
I think I've had that driver before.
Or it's a common driver name, one or the other. Feel like I've had that driver too. I guess that'll do it for what we're testing. Let's take a couple questions. We have a bunch of questions this week. Oh, and you know what? It's funny, Bradley's before this.
Emails?
Well, but we do the other one.
Emails.
'Cause it's, we don't do emails. We do
Emails?
No. Questions. Boom.
If you have a question for This Is Only Test, the email address is podcast@tested.com. Please make sure it sounds good like the podcast and doesn't sound like it was recorded on a phonograph and then delivered across the country by the Pony Express in the late 1800s. Here is the first question. I didn't screen them this week.
Hello, Tested Crew. This is Robert in St. Louis. I've gotten back into collecting Legos partly because of your podcasts, and I was wondering, are you as interested in hearing what's going to be going on at Toy Fair as you are at CES? Thank you, and always be testing.
We're not going to Toy Fair,
Toy
which
Fair happened
implies that... Really?
Yes.
When is Toy Fair? It's like
February
September.
1st.
Oh. What happened to Toy... Anything good come out?
I didn't really follow it.
So I guess the answer is no then.
No, the answer is no.
Okay. There we go. I've got two more
This
here.
happens when you don't screen questions.
Well, I didn't know the Toy Fair had already happened. Here we go. Another question. This one has the name 7E9B06CC42E9. I'm just going to play it.
Hi, Will, Norm, hopefully Gary.
Sorry.
My name's John, Big John on the site. I'm from Campbell River, British Columbia. A bit of hometown trivia is that Campbell River is supposedly the salmon capital of Canada.
Ooh.
I wouldn't know that because I've never actually caught a salmon here. My question is mainly for Will. Anyone else can put any input in if they like. With the weight loss thing that you're going through right now, which I think is great, my question is, are you doing it more for the health aspects, or is it the aesthetic value, or is it a little bit of both? I'm assuming it's a bit of both, but what do you find to be more important? I personally started lifting weights about, I guess, 2 years ago. on a regular basis anyway, 5-day a week kind of thing. And initially when I started, I did it for the
This question's gone on way too long.
values.
You gotta cut him off. You gotta cut it off now. We got the question. We got the question part.
Into more the bodybuilding thing of wanting to look better, as well as be physically fit. But yeah, so I'm just curious to hear what your guys' takes on it are.
There's nothing more to that question.
Okay. I really like salmon.
Did you know that all of McDonald's fish is sustainable?
What defines sustainable?
Which means that they do not. It's all one type of fish from Alaska, and not salmon. I forget what exactly.
It's like
type of
cod
fish.
or something,
No,
isn't it?
Not cod. Just not naming fish, and I'll confirm.
Whitefish?
No.
Bluefish?
No.
Bluefin? Yellowfin?
No.
Redfin?
No.
Shark? Swordfish?
No, it's a cheap fish.
Halibut?
Not
Halibut's not
halibut.
cheap. Tilapia?
Nope. Tilapia is cheap, but it's not tilapia.
Yeah, tilapia was something they used to just throw away 50 years
It's
ago.
a bait. Anyway, they only fish and they only buy from suppliers that fish enough so that the populations can grow
So
back.
even if so what you're saying is if we run out of bluefin tuna, we'll still have filet-o-fish.
We will still have filet-o-fish. And filet-o-fish is actually very, very popular among millennials. Millennial parents.
Wait, what?
Millennials who are now becoming parents.
How are millennials becoming parents? Aren't they like 12 now?
No.
Are you a millennial?
Yes. Millennials are people who grew up, who came of age in the 90s and
Okay, so I've gotten completely screwed on
maybe
this.
Generation Y.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you something. The Generation X people say I'm too young to be in Generation X. The Generation
you're
Y
in
people
you're
say
in
I'm too
Generation
old.
X.
No, I was born in 75.
That's Generation X.
No, that's what the book says that, but the people say, no, you're too young. I'm too old to be Generation Y. I'm Generation W, is what I think. It's Generation Will. It's whitefish, mostly from whitefish. It has half a slice of processed cheese and 30 milliliters of tartar sauce.
There's a specific fish. Like
Whitefish is a specific fish.
it's
The whitefish is a fisheries term referring to special species of demersal fish with fins, particularly cod, whiting, haddock, and also hake.
haddock.
Oh, pollock or others.
Haddock is what I'm thinking
Whitefish
of.
is also the name of several species of Atlantic freshwater fish. So use of the two-word term white space fish is less misleading. There we go.
All right.
Filet-o-fish. Health
Sustainable.
benefits. Health benefits and clothes are easier, and you just overall feel better. I mean, that's the thing. I feel a lot better than I did when I weighed 250 pounds. Surprisingly, I have managed to continue losing weight despite eating terribly and not sleeping. So
And the beard grows.
I've decided that this might be my baby beard. I might roll this until she's 18 and moves out of the house.
You know, we
to see
saw a
where it
picture
goes.
of you on the new YouTube design, and it was before you started beard, and it looked very strange.
Really?
It looked like your beard became your neck because your beard was so small compared to what your beard is
I haven't
now.
been to the YouTube page since the redesign went up. Wow, I do have a tiny beard. I'm going to have to go get more pictures made. Damn, I have a really long neck, too. Now I'm self-conscious.
There we go. One last question.
Actually, we'll do that one next week. I'll save it. That'll do it for us this week. We have some really great stuff lined up for fake outtakes, so stay tuned. Norm, anything to talk about?
Waiting for
Anything
those
to
fake
plug?
outtakes.
You got anything you want to talk? Nothing?
No. You're back in the office full time in a week and a half.
Yes, barring any further medical complications. Today's outro comes to you from Kloppy. I don't know what this is either. It was just the most recent one.
Hi there, I didn't see you.
We've just hired our new head of strategic vision, Will Smith, and people get all excited and they roll you out.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
Awesome. Last week.
That's so topical. Richard Kind.
Richard Kind.
Do you think that's his real name?
Yes. An actor
I had an art teacher named Kind.
known from Spin City.
I did not know him from Spin City because I never watched Spin City. But
Also in
he
Curb
was
Your
on
Enthusiasm.
Law and Order SVU once.
Okay. He does not look like Jeffrey Tambor.
I think
From
that he
Arrested
does
Development.
look a little bit like Jeffrey Tambor.
I do not think he looks like Jeffrey Tambor.
Did you know that he was the voice of the van in Cars 2?
Did you know that the teacher from Boy Meets World, Mr. Feeney, was the voice of Kit?
I've
In
never
Knight
watched.
Rider.
Did you know that I've never watched Boy Meets World because I'm over 30? I have no connection to Boy Meets World.
There you go.
I watched Saved by the Bell
His
instead.
name is 80, he's 82 years old, and they brought him back for that GM or GE commercial with Kit.
I saw Kit in that GE commercial, but I didn't hear him talk. Did he talk?
He did talk. As he narrated the entire thing.
I love Knight Rider. Do you watch Knight Rider?
No.
It's really not a good show. I mean,
I watched neither Knight Rider or Knight Rider 2000.
That was also
2000,
not a good
whatever
show.
The modern reboot was.
Knight Rider, I mean, it was a brilliant show when I was 7 years old. Just to be clear, Knight Rider was amazing when I was 7 or 8 years old. But it's not. That is something.
We have the Fast movies now. The Fast movies.
That Fast trailer looked really good.
Yes, it did. Now The Rock is on their side.
Well, The Rock was the best part of whichever one The Rock was in before.
Fast 5.
Was that Fast 5? I thought that was.
I think this is called Fast 6.
And does this pull the whole thing together? Fast 5 pulled the whole thing together because Tokyo Drift was a prequel.
No, Fast 5 is still a prequel.
Still a prequel?
Still a prequel.
Well, how is The Rock on their side then?
I think everything is a prequel.
You know what? Here's the mistake. Thinking about plots in Fast 5 movies is probably the mistake.
Well, they're no longer about
and
racing.
Furious.
They're heist movies now.
Well, they're just about cars. They're just about
No, they're
cars
not
and
even about
practical
cars.
effects.
They
Well,
are-
there's a tank.
They're heist movies.
I got that there's a
They are
tank.
explicitly heist movies now.
I like heist movies.
There you go. Do you like The Rock?
I didn't like The Rock at first, but The Rock has grown on me. Like Scorpion King The Rock, I got no affection for. Spy Kids or Escape from Witch Mountain or whatever that 3D thing he was, nothing. Doom, no thanks, I'm good.
Tooth Fairy?
Didn't see Tooth Fairy.
Get Smart?
I liked him in Get Smart. And the other guys, I thought he was the best part of the other guys.
It was Sam
He
Jackson
and
The Rock were
Sam
very
Jackson
good.
were
The
amazing.
other guys.
Yeah, I would like to see more Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I think he has developed some real depth. If you look at wrestlers turned actors, he is the Marlon Brando of that subgenre. I mean, I can't think of anybody who has done better
As a wrestler turned actor?
as a wrestler turned actor. Jesse the Body Ventura, wrestler turned actor turned
Was
governor,
pretty good.
was awesome in Predator.
And Running Man?
He's in Running Man.
He has hair in Running Man.
Which is he one of the bad guys?
He's one of the bad guys.
I wasn't a big wrestling watcher as a kid.
Well,
Were you a wrestling watcher?
no.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
No.
Probably
Different type of nerd.
you were at the wrong time for that. Yeah,
There was a comeback.
Mid-90s?
Mid-90s. Didn't come back on UPN.
I don't think we had a UPN station. We used to have hillbilly wrestling down at the high school gym.
What is the definition of hillbilly?
Usually there
wrestling?
were some little people there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And on that note,
You think that's it?
I think
that's what we
that's it.
got.
On that note, we're gonna have some rye bread.
You really hold on. I look at this picture of Jeffrey Tambor and look at this picture of Richard
Kind does not look like
Kind,
Jeffrey
not Klein.
Richard Kind, like the
He looks
Kind
like
bar,
Jeffrey Tambor.
does not look like Jeffrey Tambor.
I'm going to find a picture of young Jeffrey Tambor.
Oh my god.
This won't take more. Look, there's only 92 here on IMDb. It shouldn't take more than 10 or 15 minutes. Wow, he looks really. Hold on. Here we go. Wow, this is a great picture of Jeffrey Tambor. Okay, Jeffrey Tambor.
That's a great. It does not
That is
look
an
like
amazing
It
picture
doesn't
of
look like a
Jeffrey
young
Tambor.
Jeffrey Tambor. Just like Jeffrey Tambor trying to look young
He has hair.
with a great mustache.
And then Richard Kind. I need a mustache picture
nope.
of Richard Kind.
Nope. Nope.
That picture of Jeffrey Tambor is amazing. I might make that my new phone wallpaper. I guess that'll do it for us this week.
What was the? Oh, also Orchard bars. I have tried them, and I would like to have more.
Too much sugar.
Well, for you,
Well, I'm not a no carb guy. I just thought they were too much sugar.
no, they're so good.
They were very good. They were like candy
Orchard
bars.
bars.
Were they expensive?
They're the new Kind bars. I have not looked at the Amazon pricing yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna get a case.
I got a pen.
It was a space pen.
I got a space pen too, but I got another pen before I got the space pen. Check that out. It's machined. I'll do a show and tell with it so
Okay.
people can see.
All right. In that case, I'll write it.
That'll do it for us this week, I guess. See you all later.
See ya. Bye.
Bye. Reviews on iTunes, separate feed, stuff, things.
Still entitled.